What is happening, Internet? Welcome to the audio podcast on Nightwing 01. This is the Nightwing 01 channel, and a moment of silence for, of course, DC 5G. Can we just have a moment of silence? No, I don't think so. I don't think we can. Party time! Insert the coffin meme with the dancing people. So good. Okay, so a lot's going on in the world of DC, and, well, they like making money, so, of course, DC 5G would be dead. And, I don't know. I've been following the story for the past week because I wanted to make sure that the beast was dead. That we would not get a binary Wonder Woman, we would not get a gay Superman, and we would not get a Luke Fox Batman. Because James Tynion's run on Batman is actually doing pretty well, and, well, it would have been one of the shortest runs in comic book history for the Bat. And, well, thankfully, that's not going to happen now. So, James, you can partially thank him for taking over from Tom King and making some pretty interesting Batman stories because, well, Batman is kind of why DC 5G is dead or gone. Now, this is just a rumor still, but it's not looking good, especially with the whole pencils down movement and a lot of angry Twitter Puritans talking about their displeasure with DC not wanting to appease them. Boo! 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 Tears! Your tears are delicious. So anyway, yeah, I'm in a pretty good mood. I can't take credit for this, though. Bleeding Cool is one of the first people to report on this, even though they did so backhandedly, because they were hoping for a DC 5th Generation woke fest. And, well, that's not happening. Because, well, it would put DC into the ground, as you saw with the picture with the Joker next to the grave. And I know you guys didn't want flowers to be added there, but I figured the flowers would be a nice touch. So, flowers are there to commemorate what could have been a hideous car wreck in slow motion. So yes, all the things that you worried about, a fat Wonder Woman, and a different sexuality for Jonathan Kent, even though he was straight, but flip the switch, now he's not. That's not happening. Although Jonathan Kent could still end up becoming Superman during Bendis' run, things are going to be a little bit different. We should have taken the clues that Jim Lee had been handing us before the pandemic because, well, it was all there. Legacy characters were not going to be killed off anymore. Dan Didio's exit, which was very dramatic, by the way. That's right, Zelda. All of these were signs of the beginning of the end for DC 5G. And, of course, the beautiful, beautiful rants of the Pencils Down crowd. So thank you, Pencils Down crowd. And good riddance to most of you. Because you're not needed in comic books. Thank you. Goodbye, Felicia. So long. Farewell, Avinison, goodbye. We don't need you in comics. And a lot of them are getting the message. Some of them aren't, but they will eventually. So, I'm not too worried about it. Zelda, why? Why is it whenever I do these podcasts you want to come out and play, where literally 5 minutes ago you were just sleeping? Can you explain this to me? No, you can't. You can't explain this, can you? Alright. I really wish I could claim credit for this. I wish I could, but I can't. So yeah, I'm in a pretty good mood, more or less. I mean, we don't know what the future of DC is going to be, but it's not going to be the train wreck that was DC 5th Generation. Now, the 5th Generation could still change, and I would have had no problems with Luke Fox being a temporary Batman, but that wasn't going to be the case. In fact, more of his costume came out, and I can't show you because of copyright reasons. And, well, he basically looked like Iron Man. Like, his color scheme was going to be red and white, or red and gold. And how many DC heroes can you think of with a red and gold color scheme? Anyone? Can you think? Besides the Flash? And I'm talking, like, dark red. Not, like, red. Iron Man red. Like, literally, this was kind of like Marvel's all-new different, except with DC characters. He wasn't going to look like Batman at all. It kind of looked like Bob Kane's version of Batman. You know, the red. I don't know why they thought this was going to be a great idea, but some of the people involved were just, they're insane, more or less. You done now, Zelda, or you just... Okay, let's go for a little ride. Say bye-bye to the nice people. Bye-bye. Don't make me chase so fast. Hold still. Aha. Gotcha. I win. I always win. Oh, she made me chase her. Oh, that made me tired. Oh, how many of you guys have cats that do that to you? They just like causing trouble when it happens. So where were we? We were talking about what Luke Fox was planning on looking like. Oh my gosh. I don't know how they get the way they do in comic books. I mean, they have a simple method. You know, people want to see a Batman. Just let Luke Fox be his Batwing character. He has a cool costume. Why mess with perfection? Why give him sleeveless look with red armor? There's so much that was bad about this. The killing off the legacy characters was, for me, the final nail in the coffin for DC 5th generation. They were going to age a lot of them up. There were several different rumors going around with the 5th generation, like Batman was going to be old and retired, and most of the other characters were going to be dead. When Didio was around, or Dido, or whatever the heck his name was, I don't remember anymore. I don't care. It doesn't matter. It's pointless. No respect to that man. Don't need to. Most of the legacy or sidekick characters were going to be in the grave many, many years later. And there was going to be a massive time skip. Some type of, I don't know, crisis thing that was going to happen. But now nobody knows what's going to really go on. Joker War was never a part of DC 5th generation. This is all different. You have James to thank for essentially really helping DC Comics. Because he had plans and he had a very short run in mind. But things kept changing. And I have read some of Tynion's run. I think it's pretty decent. I actually like it a little bit better than, much better than King's run. What am I talking about? Miles different. I mean, Batman's not a depressed, person that I need to worry about popping depression pills. Reading Tom King's books are just kind of like, wow, the world is really this bleak. Even in comic books now. Okay. All right, this is fun. This is a Batman story. I enjoy reading. No, okay, you just shot Nightwing in the head. That's awesome. Thanks for that. Okay. But no, James' run is pretty good. I haven't really read all of James' run because I was kind of weary of it. I was like, nah. But the Joker stuff has been pretty interesting. I like how he's handling things. He's also bringing about a new character. I don't know if you guys have, I think he's called Clown Killer or Clown Avenger or something like that. He's basically a kid who grew up watching his parents murdered by the Joker, and he lives in the Narrows. So you know what the Narrows are. You saw Batman Begins. And this Clown Killer, I think that's his name, he is a vigilante, and he kills people. So whenever Joker's men appear in that part of the Narrows, they know they're going to wind up dead. Clown Hunter, I think it is now. Never mind, Clown Hunter. Clown Killer just sounds... He hunts clowns. He hates Joker, he hates the clowns, and he kills them. And he actually has fashioned a batarang attached to a bat, which is pretty... He was a big fan of Batman, like most people in Gotham, and he's a younger hero. He is... not really even the opposite of Punchline, which is Joker's new henchwench, who's very, very cool villain, by the way. You could see her doing a lot in the future someday, if they keep her around. I mean, I don't know if she's going to end up dying in the series or not. I don't think so. I think they're trying to do the whole I can't speak anymore, Harley Quinn route, and make like a newer, younger character that they can have in their series for a long time. But Punchline and Clown Hunter are pretty similar, though. They both kill people. One of them is a serial killer, and one of them's a hero. So the way that James writes Batman, he's still a person that frowns upon people killing other people, So even though this Clown Killer guy looks up to Batman, I don't think Batman's going to be too pleased with his methods. So when they eventually meet during Joker War, it's going to be pretty interesting. And that's a new character that James created. And, he's making a lot of new characters, actually. It's really, really interesting to read the Batman books right now. Now, one of the main reasons that's floating around why DC 5G is dead is not just because of the Batman comics, but also the Batman movie. Now, a lot of people have been saying for months, that they were concerned about 5G because of, what this meant for the Robert Pattinson Batman movie. And if there was a different Batman in the comics at the same time as a Bruce Wayne Batman in film that wasn't a POC or whatever. They thought that would create some confusion and some problems. Which, I mean, they're mostly right, but at the same time, as long as there's good stories, then you don't need to worry about that. But the problem is, they were going to take a lot of the great Batman talent and replace them with Twitter Puritans. Like James. James was not going to be a permanent fixture at DC for the Batman run during 5G. They were bringing in some pretty scary people. Zoe Quinn was on board. I don't know where she is now. Don't care. She's a murderer. You got Bendis, was going to be heavily involved. In fact, they still haven't gotten rid of Bendis, so you still might have some things to be concerned about if you know about Bendis. I'm not saying he's going to do anything super crazy right now because, well, the editors at DC and AT&T, they have full control over the company again, which is something that really hasn't happened all that much. And also, Jim Lee, a lot of people were concerned when he became the big guy, but that might actually have been a very good thing. He doesn't need a co-publisher. I think Jim Lee actually knows what he's doing. For the time being, I was kind of like, oh gosh, they're just going to have one person. Jim's not going to know how to run this ship. Nope, Jim's doing just fine. DC is course correcting a little bit, which is actually pretty good. I did not see this coming, actually. I wasn't one of those, I was one of those people saying, this is the end of DC Comics. The 5G thing lives or dies. It's going to ruin Batman's legacy and all this other stuff. Or it's going to ruin Wonder Woman, replacing her with a man. Or like a girl, what was it, Cassie? Yeah, Cassie was going to gain like so much weight. And then they had like all these other people involved to become Wonder Woman or Wonder Ma'am or whatever you want to. It was just, oh my gosh. It was like bad fan fiction, and now it's most likely dead because DC is realizing that those books aren't going to sell. They're watching Marvel. Marvel is having a very difficult time with a lot of their new books, like Snowflake and so forth and so on. Or their, West Coast Avengers or something like that. Some of the really, we'll say, far left books are not doing well. And most of these, I like to call them Twitter Puritans because they're kind of crazy. Blue check marks just isn't enough. Oh, thank you so much for subscribing to my other channel. That's helpful. Okay. How do I turn that off? That's going to be kind of distracting, especially if things get crazy. Let me see. Sorry about this. This is supposed to be just like very podcasty and simple. Is that it? Yeah, that's gone. Okay. We won't get any more interruptions by Marvel characters talking about Marvel. That was kind of freaky. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so we were talking about Marvel books. The really crazy ones not doing well. So, Dido, when he brought over Bendis, he was trying to appease the crazies on Twitter. Because he feels that, that is hip and now, and that these are what people want from comic books. They don't really view the Comicsgate or the other side of the fence, the normal comic book people. They don't really view us as consumers. They don't care. They're trying to appease people that don't even buy books, that don't care, that don't support merchandise. And these people, all they do is they stand on their soapbox, they whine and complain about things till they get their way, and then they move on to someone else's hobby and destroy it, whether it be anime, video games, comic books, action figures, you name it. Oh, they're in action figures now. They've migrated away from comics because they know comics is a Titanic. So they're actually going and attacking companies that make toys, for crying out loud. These people, they have their pants on too tight and they're just insane. They're drinking way too much coffee because they're just, like I said, they go from one place to the next. They don't care. They're not fans. They're not fandom. They're crazies. Crazies do crazy things. I couldn't believe it the other day. I was reading about how they're trying to get the boobs reduced on some action figure that they don't even buy. It's one of those adult toys, like for those anime waifu figures or whatever. They're going after creators of those figurines now, and it's like, what? It's like, okay, I mean, you don't even buy these products. I don't buy these products. There's a specific niche for that. But okay, let's migrate over there and go attack these poor people. There you go. That works. Just get away from my comic books and video games. Thank you very much. But, You know? Ugh. It's a crazy world we live in. It's kind of our fault for letting this cancer fester for so long, though. Like, it gave them a voice with the social media, and then, unfortunately, these big publications just started to listen to them, and that's how comics got in the state they were. You had comic book shops that would hire these freaks, and they eventually just pushed out the sane people. But the interesting thing is, these crazies or loonies, they don't even buy the books. They're not pull listers. They're not supporters. And then these comic book pros are sitting on Twitter like, I don't understand why people aren't buying my books. My books are out there. I have all these people supporting and following me, but they're not buying my stuff because they don't care about you, you jerk. You insulted an entire fan base of loyal, paying customers for a bunch of people that just don't care. And they're just there to moan and complain and be activists. That's it. That's all they do. Maybe once in a while they'll buy a comic book and see, look, I supported something. Yay me. But they really don't. You know, they buy one issue. Woo, one issue. Yay, a number one. That helps. No, really doesn't. You got to buy issue 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You know, and then you got to go and migrate over to some of the other books. Like for a Batman fan, for example, you want to help out DC, you buy the Batman books, cool. Then you go over read some Superman. Then you read the Flash. Then you're buying Justice League books. Or then you're buying Nightwing. Or in my case, it's Nightwing, Batman, an occasional Batgirl book when it's not too loony. Sometimes Young Justice isn't bad by Bendis, aside from the Drake stuff. So, I mean, this is just me for an example. Like a real comic book fan, they go and they buy other comic books. They don't just buy one thing. And that's what the problem with 5G was going to be, is because they were changing their entire model to reflect the crazies, and this would have pushed away so many consumers compared to New 52. New 52, you know, it rebooted everybody's ages. It made people younger, kept the same characters mostly that you liked from pre-52. Eventually things got a little weird, and then they hit the reboot button again. Then we had DC Rebirth, which was miles better, but, you know, Convergence came before then. I know some of you guys didn't like Convergence, but I thought Convergence was pretty cool for the time being. It was a little bit different than my first assumption, like DC Hunger Games. It was kind of in between that. But we got some good stories out of it, and it led to DC Rebirth, the return of Wally West. There was a lot of great stuff that happened with Rebirth. And then became DC Universe, and DC kind of, I don't know, it just didn't flatline, but it just kind of became like the DC animated movies, you know? It was just kind of samey. Wasn't a lot of stuff going on that people were really interested in. And they were going away from the Rebirth name. And that universe, yeah, that universe could have totally been wiped out to create Wave for DC 5G. But, you know, I really should have seen Dido's firing as kind of like the writing on the wall for that crazy stuff. But I was panicking for months. I'm not going to lie. I was kind of like, oh my gosh, this is happening. They're still going through with this. And then Jim Lee, you know, being the light in the darkness, was just kind of like, you know, you don't need to worry about your characters and your legacies, because he says they're always going to be taken care of at this publisher. And we're just kind of like, most of us fearful of DC 5G and what it represented to the legacies of a lot of these characters. We were like, what does that mean, Jim? Are you still going through with this? You haven't confirmed or denied that it's dead? Or if you had months ready for this, you were ready to launch with this. You know, even delaying comic books a little bit, like what was it, a month and a half or something during the pandemic. DC just kind of stopped doing new issues digitally until, what was it, like 2 weeks ago or something? They started bringing books back, and we're still in Joker War and a lot of stuff going on with Nightwing and whatever. But they were ready to start rolling this thing out in October. And now, quietly, people are leaving. DC is changing up how things are happening. Nobody knows what their plan is because San Diego Comic-Con is now canceled. But I don't know. I really feel, especially a lot of these really woke, excuse the term, crazy comic book publishers that were all in favor of DC 5G, and they love all new different Marvel and things like that. You know, the champions of the the loonies on Twitter. They're devastated about DC 5G potentially being dead. Like, they are like, oh, I don't see DC surviving the next generation without, appeasing us. They're not going to bring in new readers, blah, 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 blah. So the fact that they're heralding the end of this, it restores my faith in humanity and comic book nerds just a little bit. And also the publishers, like, we have one last go that we can do, that we can make comics really good again for a while. And then somehow we'll find a way of screwing it up. Because that's what happens in comic books. I feel that both companies hit the reset trigger way too much, what is it, like every 5 or 6 years? It's almost like when a new video game console comes out. They just kind of... it's here for a while, it's brand new, and then it's last gen, and then it's gone. And I would argue with a lot of these people that it would not bring in new readers. DC 5G, the vacuum of people leaving would have been too much, because you need to be able to sustain your industry, and you can't have more than half of your customers just be like dropping you like a stone. You're not going to have any way of surviving it and expecting and hoping that all these new readers are going to come running, because that's not going to happen. You need to have a balance between new readers and old readers. If you do stuff to make all your old readers leave, the new readers aren't going to be able to sustain your company. It's only half. You need both. You know what I mean? And somebody, we'll say Dido was one of and Bendis, they have this idea that all these people that love their things that they say about Orange Man being bad, and I mean, the president is a jerk, but I'm not really going to get into things. And just some of the other things that they actively talk about, they believe that activists are subscribers, or that they are followers and supporters, and it's like, I just want to give DC a hug after this is over and just be like, you fools, you were stupid, but we still love you. The DC fans, we're here for you, we like you. You course corrected, or at least you're attempting to, behind this whole pandemic thing. Good for you. I don't know what's going to happen with it. No one does. Bleeding Cool will probably be one of the first people to whine and complain about something, about what the future of DC is going to be now, because it's not going to be what they wanted. And yes, they were a big supporter of 5G, along with, there's a couple people, let's see if I can name names. There's a comic book guy who's he was a big person in favor of Captain Marvel and some other stuff. Drake something or other. He's a SJW weirdo. I don't remember his name, but I could see his picture. But he was a big supporter of 5G, and would tell you that it wasn't because of comics being super left or whatever, that why comic books were taking a hit. And they need new readers, and you get new readers by appeasing to these younger people. Well, not all these younger people are how you view them on Twitter. That's what I would tell you first and foremost. Social media is kind of like a venomous platform where all the crazy people are accepted and promoted. Whereas normal people, most of them don't really get into all the Twitter wars and the forums and social media and stuff like that. And they're just loving comic books, and they like reading stories about heroes and villains and all that other stuff. They don't care about who dates who or who's whatever. They just want to see Batman punch somebody in the face, or solve some type of mystery, or Superman do something super. I don't really read Superman, so I can't really help you out there. But this wasn't the way to go. Canceling it was something that should have happened as soon as Dan was fired, because you still lost fans from DC over this. There's still people arguing about this. I can't even go on Discords where some people from one comic group are talking about how because DC 5G is dead now, DC's dead. And another group is just like, well, because they're not going this route, DC Comics is just so dinosaur now. And I just can't take the two opposing sides anymore. I don't care. I'm in the middle. I don't give a crap. I don't care what the one side is doing over here, and I don't care about the checkmark weirdos over here. I'm just right in the middle. I just want good stories. I want good characters. And no more circuses. We've had enough. 2020 has just been too much of a circus. 2019 was crazy. But, I mean, 2020 wins the Looney Award. Just beyond a shadow of doubt. Now you got crazy bees or murder hornets or something. I'm done. I'm done with 2020. I need something good. And the fact that this nightmare might have already been snuffed before it's even, fully executed, that's amazing considering they had about 6 months worth of content. And they're just quietly getting rid of people. It's a good day. It really is. Even though, it's always raining in Gotham, I'm pretty happy with what's going on. I don't know if other people are, celebrating and playing happy music or whatever, but it works for me. I'm just kind of like, nah, I'm not sad at all. It's all good. I miss playing Lego Batman. Stupid Kappa. Oh, I'll never forget that. Lego Batman was one of the coolest Batman games before the Arkham stuff. It was actually really well done, even though it was Lego. Really wish they would get back to that, but they probably won't. Who knows? I mean, maybe on Twitch they would. But yeah, so I mean, most of the things you guys are worried about, I mean, I was surprised that Bleeding Cool was even talking about this. I thought that they would just like quietly make people think that this thing was still alive. But you can go look on Twitter yourself. A lot of these people they hired at DC who were going to spearhead. Is it spearhead or streamline? I don't know. Like some of these writers and artists that were involved, they were part of the Pencils Down movement. They either got fired or they quit because they're realizing that their loony books don't sell. I mean, it's just business 101 that you don't tick off your consumers. I mean, you can rock the boat sometimes. That's fine. I mean, if you're going to be creative and rock the boat, but you don't like tip the boat over, try to drown the people that were supporting you, and then expect some other people to come back in the boat with you. That's not how it works. It's got to be like, how do I say this? I mean, the whole balance in all things is a pretty good explanation, but you kind of have to meet people where they live. And DC wasn't doing that. At least the new hires weren't. A lot of them weren't even comic book people, and that's terrifying. Makes me wonder, if my political affiliations were not independent and I chose a side, would I get a job in comics, or would I get run out of comics? They just hire people based on merit, or do they hire people based on what race they are or what sexuality they are? I mean, that's not how somebody's supposed to run a business. You hire people based on their skills, their talent, their ideas, their characters. That's how you make a good product. If you just hire somebody because of how many Twitter followers they have, or I don't know what type of we'll say, what did they call those things in high school? Where you would do stuff in order to show colleges that you could handle something. Oh my gosh, I've been out of school so long I can't even remember the spiel. It was like, it went towards certain credits. It looked really good on your resume or your college application. It's not community service stuff. It'll come to me eventually, but you don't do all this little stuff and hope that it's going to get you a job. You should just be able to be good at what you did. There were a lot of talented people, both at Marvel and DC, that I feel really didn't get the spotlight the past couple years because they were just essentially hiring clowns. And Bendis needs to put on a clown wig because that guy, he's totally lost touch of reality. His Superman books are all over the place. I don't even know what's happening. They need to go back and find some way of fixing John, of all things. I mean, if they can randomly age the guy up to what? Is he 20 now? 19? He was like 13 before, and now he's like, he's got to be in his late teens, early 20s or something like. It's just weird. That's Bendis is doing. He sent John into space and Lois into space. He almost broke up Superman and Lois's marriage too. Not long after that one writer left, the guy who did the whole Superman family thing. It really feels like in comic books, they just don't like families. They don't like families. They don't like marriage. They just like loner types that are grumpy and drink way too much coffee. I don't know. That's what I get reading most of these young heroes, as they put them. Now, I'm not saying that young heroes can't work in comic books. Sure they can. As long as you get someone with talent who can do it. And, you know, not just hire somebody that won the Nobel Peace Prize and think that, hey, this is a talented writer or whatever. Or they led some type of community bake sale. Let's go with that. Community bake sale for strange people in wigs. There you go. That's who was hired at DC. But I can't even follow their exploits because I blocked half of them. I don't want to know what's going on. I got tired of seeing them boohoo with pencils down. I probably blocked at least 200 comic book pros. I mean, they're not really pros, but you know what I mean. It's just during that whole pencils down movement, it was the funniest thing. About, what was it, 2 weeks ago? I had a lot of fun blocking people. I didn't do a blockchain. I personally blocked them. It wasn't about the coward's way of just blocking people based on who they follow and who they don't. I don't even remember half the people I followed on my Twitter. I've been at the same 11,000 followers on Twitter for however long Twitter's been around. It doesn't matter to me. Be nice, yeah, but at the same time, I don't know. Maybe it makes me more real to have less followers and not a verification mark. I don't know. I tweet some pretty random, crazy stuff, I'll tell you that. Mostly Super Sentai related or sometimes Batman related. I actually don't use my Twitter that much for Batman, I don't think. Puns, mostly. Yeah. I mean, if there's anything to share Batman related, yeah, sure. I do get in trouble for spoiling movies, like Batman related sometimes, especially if they're horrible, like a lot of those new 52 animated films. I have no problem going to my Twitter and just spoiling the movie. I don't care. It's like it's garbage. Here's what's up. Here's what might have been good in the movie. There you go. Because I'm a jerk. Gosh. But yeah, I personally blocked a lot of those people, and it felt pretty good. Not gonna lie. So I don't know what they're doing. I could probably go and look on one of my fake Twitter accounts or whatever to see what they're up to. But if some of these publications are talking about the death of 5G, then I'm just gonna run with it too. I got a question mark. If people say it's clickbait, there's a question mark. I have no proof yet. They haven't announced anything. There's no real... There's leadership at DC, but there's no like meetings outside of Zoom stuff. And it's not like they're at their offices where they could even go and make a lot of comic books right now. I mean, there's some people working on books from home. And that's going to be some pretty interesting stuff. But until this whole virus thing is over with, there's not really going to be a lot of comics, which might actually be good. This whole, not that the virus thing is good, mind you, but the situation could be a lot worse. This might actually be better for comic books right now because it gives them a chance to look at what was not working and what the public has been saying for, oh my gosh, how long have we been talking about 5G now? A year and a half? You know, to listen to the people that actually support your stuff. And I think that DC actually did that a little bit. So I'm kind of proud of them. I only read the Batman books, but hearing all the stuff that all these people on Reset Era and some of these other places were talking about, I mean, horrible, scary stuff. And it just doesn't seem like it would really help comic book sales at all. I mean, I've never seen it really work well. But I'm not really big in the comic book industry anyway, even though that whole Watch Mojo thing years ago, I was a video game guy, so that was funny. I enjoyed that. I don't even know if I belonged in that video, to be honest, because I wasn't a comic book channel by nature. I'm pretty sure Comic Historian made it in, no problem. And, what is it, Variant or Valiant? I don't remember. But, it was interesting that happened. Anyway, I'll open up the floor to you guys if you want to talk about this some more. I'm pretty happy with how things are right now. More or less. I personally think some of the writers DC brings in are better to put on Elseworlds. That would be, yeah. Thank you guys, I appreciate it. It's Variant. All right. Valiant is... You know why I had Prince Valiant on the brain? Did you guys follow my Twitter recently? Unfortunately, we lost a very talented DC writer. I don't know if he got COVID. Nobody's saying, but it might be. But he was the co-writer for Mask of the Phantasm. He was Man-Bat writer in the 1970s. He was a Superman writer in the 80s. And he wrote a lot of very interesting Batman animated series episodes. Some of which, I'm not going to lie, they're not really my favorite. I never liked See No Evil. I always thought the... Meow. Thanks, Shadow. I always thought the guy who used radiation to make himself invisible was kind of a dumb story. But what's interesting about the animated series is the show was so good that even the episodes that weren't A+, they were still good to watch. You know, I mean, it wasn't like a horrible episode, but it wasn't a good one either. It was just kind of like, it feels out of place, but it was there, and Martin wrote that. Martin was also responsible for Thundar the Barbarian. He was a writer for that. He was the main writer on Superman, the Ruby Spears show, G.I. Joe Sunbrow. He did, I believe, Prince Valiant. Yeah, he was the writer on that. He was a writer on Superman, the animated series. Wasn't on Justice League. He was already doing other things. But, you know, that's why I have Valiant on the brain. I actually started watching Prince Valiant again in memory of that guy because I didn't realize how much that writer impacted my childhood and also, you know, fantasy and writing in general. Although I have horrible typos and I can't really write that good anyway. I'd like to think if some bozo off the street can get hired for having a verification mark on his Twitter, I mean, maybe, who knows? Maybe I could have a shot if I just, like, kept my mouth shut and didn't talk about anything political. I don't know. I mean, I'm at that ripe old age where I could do it if I wanted, but I'm not moving halfway across the country or anything. No way. I'm not going to live in California. Pass. Maybe New York City, but not for a while. Where were we going with this? We were talking about some other crazy stuff. I've always wanted to know, what's your opinion on Zatanna not being involved with Batman too much anymore? I mean, Z is more of a Justice League character than Batman. They brought her in for Batman the Animated Series. And her father, in some incarnations of the Batman canon, he was responsible for being one of Batman's teachers for escapism, or escape arts, or whatever you want to call it. So Z played kind of a role, but she was always younger than him. So it would make sense that she'd be like Constantine's girl or some other magical user, or, you know, she was really big in the 80s with the Justice League. And they found some very interesting things to do with the character later on, like with Identity Crisis. That was pretty dark. That was, man. And what's interesting about that book, Identity Crisis, is, I mean, it's so colorful. But the story is like super R-rated and oh my gosh. I was like, I remember the first time I picked up one of the issues of Identity Crisis, I was just like, all right, this is kind of interesting. It's mostly got Green Arrow and Black Canary, and oh my gosh, what happened to elongate his wife? What? You know, it's just, I mean, back then they grab you with the art and then the story would just be like a punch to the face. You're not expecting it. That's the DC I remember. Especially the 80s and 90s. Even the 70s was kind of like that. Going from the campy era. Not that I was alive during the 70s, but it was really easy to get a lot of comic books in the 70s and 80s and the 90s, like at pretty decent prices. Before the internet. Thank you very much, internet, for ruining a lot of things. Because prices weren't that crazy. Unless people went to like some type of trade show or comic book thing. You didn't have to worry about a comic book being $1,000. Pick it up for like a comic from the 70s, probably like 25 cents, 50 cents, 75. You could sometimes buy, I went into one comic book store in Albany. This would have been 2000, no, would have been 97. And they had a whole line, like a box full of 1970s Batman books, or Bronze Age books, as it's officially called, because the fifth age was DC 5G. But anyway, so you had like all these books from the 1970s. Joker with the Laughing Fish was from the animated series. It was adapted from the comic, if you didn't know that, and then they put it into the show. Most of the really great stories from the 1970s and 80s that were Batman books made it into the animated series. If you didn't know that, useless trivia. So anyway, I had this entire box that was, I don't know, it was decent size. It probably had like 25 Batman books from the 70s and 80s. I paid $15 for it. Maybe. Yeah, it was about $15 because I didn't really have a job back then. I had a lawn mowing thing I did once in a while. And, you know, I mean, I had fun reading those books. They were interesting. I love the detective stuff. The only problem is I really wish that the comic book people back then, instead of just throwing a bunch of like really old looking comic books that they weren't in mint condition, they didn't really have a lot of some of the covers were pretty messed up, pretty banged up, but you know, when you're a kid you don't care, and it's like you don't think when 20, 30 years from now, oh man, I'm going to sell these books. It's like, you know, this was really fun to read. The books looked like they were in pretty decent condition. I mean, the cover was a little faded, and there was a couple nicks here and there. Definitely had some wear and tear to it, but I had fun reading that over the summer. But, you know, some of the books weren't continued, so I didn't know what happened till DC started making collections in the 2000s. You guys know what I'm talking about, where they take Batman stories and they combine them into like a big paperback. That didn't happen until like the early to mid 2000s, something like that. So that was pretty cool. But do you guys have any more questions about the DC 5G thing? Otherwise, this podcast is just going to go all over the place. I don't even know where it's going to go, to be honest. Why do Sony get all the Batman exclusives? Money? I can't tell you. I don't know. When I was working as a game journalist, Sony would always pay developers more for exclusive content on their system because, you know, it was cooler that way, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it had to do with Sony was basically throwing money around. Development isn't cheap, and they were paying for these extras, so they became exclusive. The Xbox wanted the game, the Batman Arkham game, the way it was, and Sony was like, well, wouldn't it be cool if Joker was playable? And Rocksteady's like, yeah, I guess so, but we can't really, you know, Warner Brothers not going to pay for that. And they're like, oh, okay, no worries. Here you go. Here's a check. Now, they can't take that character when it first came out and be like, all right, we're going to port Joker to the Xbox. You can't do that. Basically, Sony paid Rocksteady to make some exclusives. And as far as I know, Sony's always done that. Ever since PlayStation 2. GameCube and PS2 had similar games. If they appeared on PlayStation 2, lo and behold, PlayStation 2 had more features in their game than the GameCube did. But the GameCube game looked better. So, I mean, that's what Nintendo had over the PS2. And I still say this to everybody. The GameCube had better visuals than the PS2. But the PS2 won because they had more games. And they could play DVDs. You couldn't do that on the GameCube. But that's something Sony's always done with their playbook. They're never going to stop that. There was exclusive skins in some of the Arkham games, too, that were only on Sony. And if I remember correctly, in Arkham Origins, you could get the Nightfall. Give me a second. It was a Nightfall, and it was the Adam West suit. And they were exclusive to the PS3. You could not get Adam West and Nightfall on Xbox 360. Pretty sure. Along with some other stuff. It was incentive to buy the game. I mean, if Xbox wants to throw money around, they could do it, but I don't know. They just don't like doing it. Sony's always going to do it, though. Who is the hottest DC girl? I would have to think about that. Any opinion on death metal replacing 5G? That would be pretty cool. I like death metal. I think what DC should do, personally, if I'm opening up the ideas to suggestions, I'd like to see more Elseworld stuff, too. I noticed that there were a couple people in the chat talking about this. What DC could do right now to kind of like earn back sales, earn back the consumer's trust, and work on the next big, whatever crossover or crisis thing that they're going to do, and not necessarily destroy all your legacy favorites and age Bruce Wayne or kill Bruce Wayne or kill Superman, kill Wonder Woman, replace them, all those weirdos they wanted to do. With exception of Luke. Luke is the only character that has actually been well written off and on for the last... oh my gosh, how long has Luke been around? Hasn't been 20 years yet, has it? No. Might be. I mean, he became Batwing during the New 52, but... pretty sure Luke was around for a while. I'd have to look it up. I'd have to do a Luke lore. That might be a little weird, though, me talking about myself, except as Luke Fox, not my name. Never mind. I'm pretty sure it's been a while. But I would go the Elseworlds route and probably do a miniseries, like 4-issue miniseries on some type of cool Elseworlds story. Could be anything. Could be like a Future's End type thing. I mean, maybe not so much post-apocalyptic. That's getting kind of stale. I mean, Future's End was cool and all, but it's like, can we stop destroying the future? Maybe let's do some time travel, something. Do some type of mystery or something different, but something that fans would actually like to read and know it's a miniseries, not to know that, okay, this is a big thing. This is forever. This is perma. You know, do something that is quick and easy. You can get more people on board, and then later you take that 4-issue miniseries and you turn it into a graphic novel. Boom. I just printed DC money. I don't even know what the story would be, but, you know. They could even take that horrible 5G idea, hear me out, and they could make it an Elseworlds universe as a graphic novel event. If the graphic novel sells well, which it won't, then they could do another one. But I'm pretty sure that they realized it's not going to sell. Not only is it not going to sell, but it's not going to make AT&T happy. And the first person that AT&T is going to say bye-bye to would be Jim. And the next one would be Jeff Johns. And then that leaves Bendis. You don't want Bendis there by himself. That's a bad idea. But, I'm just saying, hear me out. They have those issues they already did for that 5G stuff. It's sitting around. It's not finished, mind you. But they could go ahead and actually make that a little graphic novel. See if it does well. I don't think it will. And I will tell you this right now. If they made a 5G miniseries as an Elseworlds, as a graphic novel, or, collection, the Twitter Puritans would not be happy. Even though it released, because it is not the main universe, they're not going to buy it. Even if it was the main universe, they're not going to buy it. But they're not going to be happy anyway, because it's only an Elseworlds. No one would care if it was an Elseworlds. In fact, people might actually buy it. But nope, they wanted to make it a full-blown perma universe, like the next step of the DC evolution. Nah, fam, not gonna work. Wouldn't work. Just wouldn't work. But I'm saying I'd be cool with a graphic novel. Kwing can play ball. You can meet me in the middle there. Go for it. I know it's not gonna sell. How do you know Pattinson was joking? Oh, you want to talk about that? Oh my gosh. Okay, people. Look. Robert is not going to be a buff Batman, okay? He is a fan of not Ben Affleck, of not Christian Bale. He is going the Keaton approach. Keaton was not in shape when he played Batman. There was a stuntman in the suit. I know this is hard to hear. It was hard for me to learn this too, but you had a very fit stuntman doing most of the stuff that Keaton wouldn't. Or Keaton couldn't, because Keaton was not a very bulky guy. To him, the Batman suit was he even said it in the movie. He gave you a hint. It's like a suit of armor. When he was talking to Vicky Vale and Knox about the samurai stuff and his armory, there were a lot of subtle hints that Burton was giving to people that when Bruce puts on the suit, he becomes Batman. He's not Batman and Bruce Wayne. He's Bruce Wayne who goes out on the streets in armor and beats people up. Now, because there's a lot of psychological aspects to the Long Halloween and this version of Batman, and he's still relatively young in his career. This is Batman's second year, near his third year when Robin comes into the picture for Dark Victory. But you're only going to get teases of Dick Grayson, unless they're going to rip that out of the movie. The whole circus thing might actually be cut out of the movie now because, well, you know what this year is. This year sucks. But anyway, he has not been very fit. And this is whatever the actor's choice, whatever. I don't know if he's doing it because of the Nolan movie he's in and he needs to be normal looking. But he didn't do really anything. He did a little bit of getting fit. But most of the shots that has him in the suit now, unless they're going to do reshoots, kind of looks like a normal guy wearing a suit of armor. Like he doesn't... The suit is going to do all the work. He's not bulking up. He's not going to bulk up. Maybe in the second movie he'll get a little bigger, but I don't think so. That's not what this Batman's about. This is going to be a Batman that is going to terrify you, yes. This is a Batman that's going to stick to the shadows, going to solve mysteries, and eventually they're going to bring in a young Robin. That's it. This is not going to be your amazing, athletic bod of Ben Affleck throwing guys around in a warehouse, taking names and kicking butt, or even Bale's version of Batman, like being ninja fit. You're not going to get that from Robert. They are going to incorporate the stealth Batman, and I'm okay with it. I've made peace with it. I don't care. As long as the movie's good and Alfred isn't lying, I don't care. I just want to see the Long Halloween done justice, and I want Robin as a kid, because I think that would be a pretty interesting dynamic that we've never really seen. Even back in the 60s, the Camp Fest, Robin was a teenager, and he was running around with Batman. Batman the Animated Series, Dick Grayson was in college. Yeah, they brought in Tim Drake later, but by then, I really didn't want Robin in the series anymore anyway. Tim bothered me. He was too much like Jason. No offense to Jason, it's just... it wasn't the same Tim Drake that I was reading in comics that appeared in the animated series. It was Jason Todd. They were just too scared to call him Jason Todd because everybody knew Jason died and they were worried about Robin being killed off in the show. And essentially, they still got rid of Robin. Anyway, they did the Batman Return of the Joker movie, which was basically Joker taking out Tim. And even Paul Dini has admitted, sorry, getting off topic, but Paul Dini said, yeah, pretty much Tim was Jason. We just had to call him Tim Drake. They tried to make a amalgam between the two, but there's very, very little of Tim Drake that is in the animated series. You go, I'll give you homework, okay? Go and watch Batman the Animated Series, the 4th season, and look at the characteristic of Tim Drake, or Robin, in the show, and I want you to name one thing that is a similar trait to Tim Drake from the 90s comic books. There's your homework. Now, to continue your homework, I want you to pick 5 traits of Jason Todd that are in the second Robin in the animated series. I can name 10, but I'm just giving you 5. Okay? Do I think that Pattinson will bring a new Batman skin to Arkham Knight? No. Arkham Knight's over, guys. I'm the only one milking this game. We're not supposed to ban people without Luke's permission. Oh, what's going on now? Wasn't Tim a computer whiz in the animated series? Not really, no. I can't think of any detective-oriented stuff that he did in the animated series. At all. He was always running off on his own like Jason Todd. No, Pattinson is not fat. He's thin and lanky like me. Maybe that's why I'm giving him a pass. Just like Keaton was thin and lanky. You're getting another thin and lanky Batman. He's not going to change. He wasn't joking. He's really not going to get in a lot of shape because the leaked footage of him in the Batsuit doing action scenes, he's not that bulky, guys. The suit is... Zachary Levi got jacked to play Shazam and had a little bit of a muscle suit, right? Pattinson has a bulky Batsuit that is doing most of the work for his athletic appearance. And this is also going to play into a reason why it's very hard for people, other than probably Commissioner Gordon, to know Bruce Wayne is Batman. Because they have different builds. Bruce Wayne looks like a normal, not sickly guy, but let's say normal build. And Batman is a little bit beefier. And that's because of the costume. Your thoughts on Robin and Raven. Are you talking about the new movie? I thought it was cute. I mean, it was the end of the world. Give the kids some romance. I mean, it's not like they really got to enjoy it much. For 2 years, they were separated. Neither one of them could really come to terms with the relationship. And then they shared a kiss. Barry erased the world. Sorry, scratch that. Barry erased the whole universe. It's interesting. Earth got a do-over, but the entire universe got screwed. I mean, Oa deserved a do-over thanks to Darkseid, but really think about this. The entire DC universe of planets that we did not really see in this continuity has all been completely wiped from existence because Earth screwed up. That to me doesn't seem fair, but at the same time, I'm happy for a DC rebirth and maybe more Elseworld stories for animation. I don't know. Thoughts about Apocalypse War ending? It was okay because Barry is an idiot. I agree to that. What do you think about WB Games Montreal a couple days ago? Oh, you want to talk about that now? Oh, okay. Well, they didn't confirm that there is no Batman game. They told people to be patient. Arkham Videos tweeted about it, so he also knows that a Batman game's in development. They said stay tuned to their channel, their official WB Games Montreal channel. That means a trailer's going to drop this summer. Is it going to happen with Jeff Keighley's involvement? No. Is it going to be part of Summerfest? No. Is it going to be a surprise? Probably, unless somebody leaks it, but I don't think people are really going to be putting much on Batman on the radar. Do I think the game's going to come out this year? No. It is going to be changed in order to be ported onto the PS5 and the Scarlet, or whatever the Xbox... I'm sorry, I don't know what it's called. I'm not planning on buying another Xbox, so I never really used my Xbox One. I still don't. I just dust it from time to time. I think that if they would have hyped up the trailer like they were supposed to back in the spring for their big reveal at E3, then yes, the game would come out October 2020. I believe now, because of marketing, and when the Batman movie is coming out in the fall, I would say that it would be a no-brainer for the new Batman game to come out on the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, is it? This summer 2021. That would be a marketing marvel. Putting it out this year when they're not even going to get that many physical copies, I don't even know if Avengers really going to make its fall release or now or not. It could. They could move it to May of 2021, though. Who knows? Apparently, a lot of the beta test stuff is not going well, and there's a lot of issues with the game. I don't really care either way. I mean, the game looked finished as it is. I just feel like they're delaying it because they were worried about Final Fantasy. Like, Square does not like releasing their big flagship titles with their experiments. And I know people are saying, whoa, Avengers is going to be better than Final Fantasy. No. Final Fantasy Remake was their big thing, to the point where they threatened people with legal action for leaking the game and leaking the ending and showing the ending and copyright striking people. So it was Square that moved Marvel. It wasn't Marvel saying, hey, we need some more time to work on the game. No. Square didn't want it to come out anywhere near Final Fantasy's window, so they moved it. That's what happened. And that's just somebody who's played a lot of Square games and works with Square Enix from time to time. They've done this before, where they've moved their games around in order to really highlight their big thing that they want to push. That's just something Square does. So, I keep forgetting that Square Enix is the one that's doing the Avengers game. That's crazy. Good for them, though. Xbox Series X, yeah. Do you think Calendar Man shows up in the Pattinson universe? Yeah. I mean, you can't do the Long Halloween trilogy without Calendar Man. You got the Falcones, Falcone family. You've got Harvey Dent. You've got Jim Gordon. You've got all the different characters involved from Long Halloween, Penguin, all these people. And they haven't really announced the cast for the sequel yet or the third movie because they're making a trilogy. That's the plan. Final Fantasy will end you if you launch your game. Yeah, I mean, you don't mess with Square and Final Fantasy. So, and you already know that Final Fantasy got delayed once this year, right? So, I will tell you this. When Final Fantasy got delayed from January to April, I knew that the Avengers game wasn't coming out and some of their other Square projects. Because they just wasn't going to work. I actually thought Final Fantasy would get delayed again, but they were worried about leaks, so they were like, yep, we're going to keep our April release. But it was supposed to come out in January. And Avengers was supposed to come out in May. January, May. That's February, March, April. That's almost 4 months. Wiggle room. So the fact that Final Fantasy came out in April, May, June, July, August. Technically, the Avengers should come out in August. That's about 4 months. But nah, they moved it to the fall. From what I've heard going on to be a standalone animated projects going forward, the animated Superman movie is Man of Tomorrow. Yeah, I've heard about the Superman thing. That sounds cool. I would like it to set up either a Convergence movie or, I don't know, DC Rebirth. I'm not really picky. I don't mind. I'm kind of burned out from the shared continuity movies if they're not going to do them well. So, that's just my 2 cents on that. Kwing, would your 10-year plan... What would my 10-year plan be for the next animated universe? I would do DC Rebirth. I would do the button. I would probably incorporate some stuff from pre-52, actually. If they're starting over with Flashpoint, I would somehow make them back in the DC, pre-Flashpoint era a little bit. With some changes. Dick Grayson would be Batman. Wally West would be pretty close to being the Flash. Like, Barry goes back in time and something happens to him and Wally has to take over. Something like that. Need to have more Wally. DC, I know James Tucker doesn't like... is it Tucker? I forget his name. One of the people in the animated series who does a lot of these producing roles for... the new 52 verse. He doesn't like legacy characters either, like Dido. So he's dangerous to have in charge of like all these like continuity films. He does a great job making standalone Elseworlds films. I think he's very creative and he's, does a pretty good job, but when it comes to his continuity films, they suck. And that's just my 2 cents. It's also like a track record of almost 10 years of films has shown me. But the standalone stuff that he's a part of and that he works with a different team, it's pretty good. And, he knows what he's doing, but other stuff not so much. I'd have to think about my 10-year plan because they already did the Court of Owls. I mean, they could do the Court of Owls better, but, I mean, do you really want to go back and do the Court of Owls again? You want to know what they should use the Court of Owls for? A movie or a video game? That would be interesting. And that's probably going to happen. I mean, what am I talking about? Of course it's going to happen. I just really haven't... to be honest, guys, I haven't really cared too much about what's going on this year. It's kind of a blah year. It's like that year when my grandpa died. I just really didn't care about life. This year, with all this stuff that's happening, I'm concerned about my 90-year-old grandma. And my parents are in their 60s, I think. I don't know. We don't talk much. But I care about them and I'm concerned. We're both in bad places. I'm in Pennsylvania. I'm in a red state. Like, in terms of, the virus, it's bad. And my parents are in a very bad state in Massachusetts, like near Boston, so they're having issues. They're fine, though, so far. But, I don't know. It just makes me worried a little bit, especially worried about my grandmother. I told her to keep her vitamin D and C levels up as best she can, so I got her eating some sauerkraut like me, and she's not taking vitamin pills. She's actually having like nutrients, so she's having foods that are rich with vitamin D and C. Because really shouldn't... I don't like vitamin supplements. They don't really do much. It's better to eat the food. But anyway, you know, so I'm just... 2020 is kind of a blah year for me. I just kind of want it to be over. I would love the Batman game to come out this year, to be honest, but I don't see it's happening. The silver lining for me right now is DC Rebirth is done. Or not DC Rebirth, excuse me. 5G is probably dead and buried. They're doing their best to try to act like it never happened because they don't like these leaks. DC does not like YouTubers and all these other people talking about what their initial plans were with these leaks of 5G, and they are going to basically pretend it didn't exist. And hey, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with this being the last time I talk about that garbage fire dumpster thing, because I don't know. It takes all my worst fears of what comics could be, and it would have made it a reality, and that would have been the death of comics, because it wouldn't bring in new people, and it would lose people. And you know, anime and manga is already big enough without adding DC and Marvel fans to the mix. You know, I love anime and video games and comics, and I support all three. But if DC didn't really appeal to me anymore, or it was just, I don't know, acting like all those crazies on Twitter, I block all that stuff on Twitter. Why would I want to, you know, use my money to support that? No, thank you. I'm not paying those crazies. I don't even follow their exploits on Twitter. Why would I read their adventures in comics? That's my rational thinking, you know. Just like I don't support developers that make crazy games. I support the developers that make good games. You know, you vote your wallet. AT&T loves 5G. It doesn't seem like it did. How do you feel about Batwoman crossing over with Superman? I don't know. I mean, Batwoman's moving to HBO Max anyway, most likely. Her ratings are beyond the toilet. Her ratings have been flushed. She had like one or two good episodes with Hush, and that's about it. Nobody else cares. Although the only reason people watched Hush was so they could make fun of how bad Hush looked. He looked like a mummy. He didn't even look like Hush. It's like, he looked like a Party City mummy. It's probably... The Hush costume is one of the worst television DC comics I've ever seen. I kid you not. It was horrible. It reminded me of some of the really campy stuff that was on that Birds of Prey show from the early 2000s. And the funny thing is, like, we're in 2020, and you're telling me that they had to grab a costume from the early 2000s out of mothballs or something. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I mean, it makes sense that you would get a Batwoman and a Superman show because they're going to try to use Superman to pull up Batwoman's ratings. Because they can't really use Supergirl to pull up Batwoman's ratings because nobody's watching Supergirl anymore either. The funniest thing about the situation and the way the world is, okay, I'm just going to say this. With everybody being home right now, CW got a slap in the face this year because their ratings are down across the board. And they can't make the excuse that, you know, people are too busy and they'll watch it, like they'll DVR it or they'll go and they'll watch it on the CW app. Nah, fam. Nah. The Price of Right has more viewers than any CW show. The Price of Right. Wait, did I say that right? That game show? Price is Right? I don't remember. I don't even watch game shows anymore, but I think Price is Right. Price is Right? I don't know. Nobody wants to watch these shows. They want to watch game shows and other things. And the funny thing is, when Crisis on Infinite Earth, when it aired, yeah, it did really well, supposedly. But when you compare... When people are actually home watching things, they're not at work, they don't care. They don't want to watch it. They say that they support this thing, but if they really did, you have millions of crazy wig-wearing, I don't know, pronoun people, things, places, animals, I don't know. You have all these people on Twitter saying all the time how much they support this stuff, right? They had the opportunity to show all us normal peoples Like, comic book fans and people that say Batwoman is trash, because it is, they could have shown us up during this pandemic. Even they didn't want to watch the show. That to me is hilarious. I need a soundbite with Jay Jameson laughing, because they had an opportunity to show television companies that they literally watch this garbage. And they don't even watch it! That to me is saying so much. The ratings dipped so low, it wasn't even in like the 800 range or the 750,000 range. It dropped down to 500,000 and lower. That is hilarious. Nobody wanted to watch it. They didn't care. And they were home. You can't make the excuse, oh, they were doing something else, so that's why the ratings were bad. Nah. They didn't watch it because it sucks. That's why they couldn't commit to watching it. Plain and simple. Even the people that you were trying to champion for wouldn't watch your filth. And if that is not a message to these executives with their fat wallets and their limos and their, out of touchness from the human race, there's no hope for them. Because the writing is on the wall. It's right there. That's why it's rumored to go to HBO Max, because people know. People with Nelson ratings, they know. It's only these CW people. They don't know. Or they don't care. I don't know. But I'm just saying, the Twitter people, the Twitter tribe, the weirdos, they had the potential of, bringing their show up to like insane ratings. And they didn't. It's over. She's going to get one more season and then it's being canceled. They're already talking about canceling Batwoman. If the Superman crossover bombs, bye-bye Batwoman. You'll get a Luke Fox show spinoff, maybe. Hopefully. That'd be better. No, they had one job and they didn't do it. Because they didn't want to do it. They don't want to watch the garbage. The Twitter tribe is a mess. Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, look, I worked in marketing in Sears for like 6 months. And even then I learned the patterns of our customers. And, long-term, attracting new people, all this other stuff. The CW was banking on outrage to fuel their thing. And for whatever reason, the fanboys that hated Batwoman with a passion, they didn't fall into that pitfall trap in Animal Crossing. They stayed away from the show. You had a couple of them that made bank doing reviews, but for the most part, a lot of these angry viewers did not tune in to watch it, and the ratings showed. And the group that was supporting the show was too small. It was too minor to make a difference. They were banking on your outrage, and you guys and gals, you were smart. You didn't fall for it. You didn't fall for those sleazy executives. And because of you, the show's going to be canceled after 2 seasons. It doesn't have an audience. You can't make a show without an audience. It's impossible. Just like I can't have a YouTube audience without, 50 people watching this? Wait, 300 people are watching this? Wow. Okay, never mind. I mean, you can't do anything without people watching you. And they don't have the television support. If they didn't have their CW app, Batwoman would be pulled off the air so fast. So fast. Supergirl is in dangerous territory. So if this crossover between Superman and Batwoman, which is basically an adaptation of a Batman-Superman story, I kid you not, if this doesn't do well, Batwoman is going to go back into her girl cave or whatever and, disappear and Luke Fox will take over. The public doesn't want Batman to show up in the CW because they ruined Batman in one or two episodes just by talking about Kate was doing this whole thing like, I gotta follow Bruce's code about not killing. And Luke is like, hold up, girl. You know what happened to Joker? Well, Bruce killed him. So now she's kind of like, oh, so it is okay to kill people. Okay, I'm just waiting for her to start using guns like in the comics. To be honest. Nobody really wants Batman to show up in the CW anymore. because they think Batman's ruined. I mean, I could point to them and tell them, there are times that Batman's killed in the comic books and it was justified, but for the most part, he did hold himself to a higher code. Most of these people who have this high elevation of Batman are people who grew up with the animated series because, without even realizing it, they grew up with the Bronze Age Batman. They grew up with the guy who, changed his ways and wouldn't kill and really cared about human life, good or bad. And it became a core part of the character for, like, oh my gosh, let's see if I'm bad with math. 70, 80, 90, 2000, 2020? Yeah, it's almost 50 years. That wasn't a core aspect of Batman. Even in his campy days, he killed people by accident. Or on purpose. You could argue he did it on purpose. But most of the time, when the whole Comics Authority thing happened, those Silver Age books, I mean, people didn't really die. They got a slap on the wrist and they went to jail or whatever. The 40s and 50s, they died in Batman books. Horrible deaths, some of them. But it was the 70s and 80s, even though Batman wasn't necessarily killing people. He did kill some people, though. I can name at least 10 times that Batman killed people in the 70s and 80s. Although some of them came back, so, I mean, I don't really know how that happened. Comic books, I guess you could say. KGB starved to death. Because Batman, after the dude shot Ronald Reagan, or attempted to shoot the president, Batman followed him into the sewers and fought KG Beast to a standstill, destroyed his mechanical arm, and realizing that it's a fight Batman might not be able to win, but that KG Beast was too dangerous to let live, he locked him into a dark room in the sewers without any food, without any means of escape, without anyone ever finding him, and just leaves him in the sewers of Gotham. You could argue that KG Beast got away, but he didn't show up again in comics for 25, 30 years. So it was pretty evident he killed the guy. You know? That happened quite a bit in the 90s and 80s. Sometimes. It depended on the situation. I don't think he told Robin that he killed somebody, but he did, he had to gauge the situation. He was getting older. I may get a DC app to watch 90s and 00s animated series and decent shows like HQ, Harley Quinn. Okay, HQ is Harley Quinn, and Young Justice. But I want to see Slade Show too. Is the CW app worth the investment? I already have Netflix with Arrowverse on here. I thought the CW app is free. Isn't it? I don't pay for it. I'm able to watch that stuff when I want to. Batwoman has several compelling stories either jammed together or stretched out too long. Compelling storylines? I don't really know if it's compelling. I mean, it's kind of boring. Kwing, do you think Harley Quinn is a woke show? I think Harley Quinn is a balanced show. But I think that they are trying to please the Twitter crazies a little bit. But for the most part, the show it's a dark comedy. They make fun of everybody. I've seen them make fun of hipsters. I've seen them make fun of Comicsgate. I've seen them make fun of woke people. I've seen them make fun of all walks of life, mostly. Do they lean a certain direction more than most shows that would be balanced, making fun of both sides? Yeah. But I've only found a couple episodes where I've had some eye-rolling moments, like, direct jabs at the audience. But for the most part, it's a good show. I would not put it in the same pedestal as the animated series, or... It's kind of like Batman Brave and the Bold without censorship. Batman Brave and the Bold was an adult show that had tons of innuendos in it. And if they had the ability to do the kind of stuff that they're doing with Harley Quinn, that would have been Batman Brave and the Bold. It would have been violent, it would have been campy at the same time, and it would have had a lot of F-bombs, because the people working on those shows are not candid with their language. And it's interesting that some of the people involved with Batman Brave and the Bold created the Harley Quinn show, which is interesting. So, I'd want to say it's kind of balanced, but I might be wrong in that. I'd like to think that it's balanced, but I don't know. I thought the jab at the Comicsgate crowd was kind of funny. With the Batman episode. The Batman episode was fantastic. The one with the Hellbat armor. Oh my gosh, that was so cool. I want to see more of Batman. I also liked last week's episode where are you going to throw up? You're going to throw up, aren't you? Please don't throw up. What are you doing? I thought last week's episode where they showed a nod to the Dark Knight trilogy was pretty awesome. But, I mean, the show's kind of gory, so I don't really watch it as often. What is your favorite DC animated movie? Mask of the Phantasm. Any opinion on the Swamp Thing appearing on CW? I haven't seen Swamp Thing on the DCU app, so I can't really tell you much about it. Sorry. They're probably just doing reruns. Kwing, I have a question. Why doesn't the CW at least try to see people like the Flash show better than Batwoman and Supergirl and try to improve those shows to boost their ratings? Because they don't want to. The reason why they don't want to fix the show is because you're the problem. You're not accepting their show. And how dare you not watch Batwoman or Supergirl? They're not going to change anything. They would rather their shows get canceled than them change something to appease you, the viewer. Because you're the toxic person. I'm just saying this. I'm not accusing any of you of being toxic. I'm being an executive right now. If I could pinch my nose and have like a nasally sounding like California voice, I would. But that's their main reason. They could easily go in and fix part of the show that did not test well with audiences. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it because they are not going to admit anything they did wrong. SJWs never admit to doing anything wrong. They will hound you to death to get you to apologize and then run you out of town, but they will never say sorry for anything they did or admit any fault, ever. Batwoman and Supergirl are at fault. The executives, the shows, the actors, the writers. Are they going to change anything? No. Would it save their shows? Yes. Are they going to do it? No. They're going to watch the ship go down, and then they're going to make a more horrible show than that. They don't learn from their mistakes. And Hollyweird just keeps giving them jobs. So, I mean, there's nothing you can do. What you can do, don't watch the show. It'll go away, I promise. If you make a big stink about the show and give them any type of press, then you're giving these crazies a job. You don't want to give them a job. You want them unemployed and living on the street. That's what I want. Till they learn their lesson, then they can come back to society when they're, thinking somewhat rationally. Until then, go be a hobo. I don't care. But that's just me. I'm mean, so. Will Scarecrow get his own movie? I don't know. Thoughts on Marvel's New Warriors? Garbage. Did you like the DC show Powerless? Yes, I did. I thought that was funny. That got canceled way too soon. I liked the comedic aspect that they were trying to do, and I thought Vanessa Hudgens in that show was hilarious. Also, Adam West cameo was great, and I just love these normal people living in the DC cinematic universe, or whatever universe they were living that was DC related. To see these normal people, basically like The Office, living in the DC universe was hilarious. And it ended way too soon. It did. Batman. I hope Ruby Rose gets blacklisted. She won't, because she's a champion. She'll be fine. This older news, but have you heard about Jeff Johns supposedly being behind replacing Zack Snyder? Yeah, that's all true. Unfortunately, Jeff Johns and Zack did not get along. Jeff Johns loves these characters a lot, and Zack Snyder just wanted to play in the DC sandbox, and he didn't want to show respect to these characters. So Jeff Johns and Zack had different ideas of what the DC cinematic universe was going to be long term. Jeff Johns and DC had a 10-year plan with subsequent sequels and spin-offs and cartoons and TV shows and video games, blah, 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 blah. Zack Snyder had a saga in mind. That was it. In his saga, Dick Grayson was dead. All the Robins were dead. Commissioner Gordon was dead. Most of Batman's allies all dead except for Alfred. You wouldn't really get much of a Batman story, which made making a Batman movie very difficult, but Ben Affleck, Jeff Johns, and a couple other people got together to write basically the Batman Arkham script, which really wouldn't have worked in their DC cinematic universe because, well, there would have been references to Nightwing and all these other characters that they planned on having movies, and, you know, it wouldn't really work in the established saga that Zack Snyder wanted to do. What they should have done, if they were smart about this, instead of, like, both fighting over, you know, two kids playing with superhero toys and one wanting to be this person and the other person wanting to be that person and then trying to create their same story at the same time, what they could have done, Zack Snyder could have had his way, made his little saga. DC should have let him. And then at the end of the movie, of the saga, Flash has this brilliant idea to go back and save his mother, and boom, Flashpoint is created. And then you've got an all-new universe where Jeff Johns can play around and do whatever he wants. The saga was completed. Zack Snyder's happy. He's still making Warner Brothers movies. And, you know, people got a very compelling Lord of the Rings Justice League series of 2 movies, and that was it. And then you had a brand spanking new universe where you could cast whoever you wanted, or if you wanted to bring back some actors, you could have done that. And it would have been interesting. Then, you know, but DC, they were trying to rush their stuff. Jeff Johns had a clear vision of what he wanted the DC cinematic universe to be. A lot of executives did. Zack didn't. Zack killed Dick. Zack killed Jimmy. Zack killed so many people, and they were going to stay dead. He's going to bring in Carrie Kelly. He was doing The Dark Knight Returns. He made it difficult for Ben to do his Bat movie. Superman movies would have been difficult. Wonder Woman movies are kind of connected, but they're not. Aquaman movie had to be kind of disconnected, aside from like one little mention of, you know, the invasion. It was a mess. But it could have been fixed if they just let Zack do his thing. But nope. That's just how I feel. Have you seen the video Snyder saying, yeah, he's a fun guy. Wow, who will win in a fight, Batman or Master Splinter? Kwing, what do you think? I'm gonna chalk this one up to Master Splinter, probably. What do you guys think of Aquaman? I only saw it recently, but I thought it was good. I loved Aquaman. I know about the show, but I just want my Green Lantern core movie. You're getting Green Lantern on HBO Max. Dark Knight, Metal Thoughts. Awesome. Too much to talk about. Kwing opinion on Young Justice Outsiders. I thought it was fantastic. I really enjoyed it, for the most part. I thought it was really well done. Yeah, nobody wants to talk about DC 5G, so we'll just bury this. I really don't, you know. I don't care either. It's over. It's gone. Probably. That Bleeding Cool article made me feel pretty happy. In the midst of the chaotic world we live in, there was a ray of hope this past week, so that made me pretty happy. I thought something was up with the whole pencils down thing, and, well, whoop, whoop, woot, woot, woot. Why is Starfire getting attacked on Twitter? Oh, I don't want to open this can of worms, but okay. How do I explain this? Because someone of my nationality, which I'm Irish and Portuguese, because of the color of my skin, if I went on Twitter and I said that a cosplayer did a better job than the Titans Starfire, I would be accused of racism because Starfire in live action, there's no way to say this, I'm sorry, is African American. If the actress was a different nationality other than this, then a lot of the Twitter crazies would not be caring as much about saying that the Starfire cosplayer did a better costume than the Starfire in Titans. They wouldn't have a leg to stand on because it didn't matter. And then they go into this whole thing, well, Orange really is black, and she was made a black character, and you're racist, and it just, Twitter just, you can't, Twitter's bad. Twitter's stupid. In reality, I don't see it as a racist post because there wasn't any race involved because Starfire is orange and an alien. Just because the actress is a different nationality on a TV show, it doesn't mean that the character changes nationality throughout the multiverse. And this is why non-comic book fans don't get that, and they're the first to go and attack people. So fans of the TV show, or who never watched Titans and found out that the actress was a different color than the cosplayer, started a race war. That's what happened. I did not get involved with it. I think that the Twitter crazies are insane, and I don't think they understand what racism is. They were talking about a character, not an actress, but whatever. There's no hope for those people. There just isn't. They're too far gone. They'll never be okay. Anything could set them off. That's the honest to God truth. Some people there's hope for, but those people will never be rational. The Twitter Puritans, they're too far gone. I mean, these are the same people that complain about boobs on an action figure, complaining about a cosplayer making a better costume than an actress that didn't even make her costume. But that's what happened. And that's the only reason it blew up. And I will tell you this. Whatever color you are, if you cosplay or you're an actor, chances are the character doesn't look the same way that you do throughout the DC multiverse. Starfire may look one way in the Earth that the Titans are in, but at the end of the day, she's an orange alien. It doesn't matter. Eventually, in Season 3, I know people are going to hate this, but you're going to see Starfire turn orange. It doesn't matter what she is, because she's going to be orange, and she's going to shoot fire, and she's going to fly. People are going to be so upset. The Twitter Puritans are going to have a field day when the actress is CG'd orange, because she's not going to allow people to paint her orange. It's all going to be like, done in computers. You know? But they're gonna accuse the studios of being racist for covering up a black woman. I kid you not. At the end of the day, people are idiots. Do you think the villain Firefly is underrated? Sometimes. I mean, Garfield Lens is interesting. Why are people morons? I don't know. I blame the school system. Even when I was a kid, most of my teachers were all liberals with liberal art degrees who were very angry and they hated kids. And I butted heads with them a lot when I would choose non-lefty political figures to do papers on, and I would get an F or a D-, even though it was a good paper. A lot of those crazies went into the school system, and there's nothing you can do. I'm sorry, but it starts in schools, and then it depends on the type of atmosphere you have at home and your friends. There's nothing you can do. Society is just... You can self-educate. I don't even remember stuff that happened in school anymore, so I didn't get brainwashed for any political side because I'm a free thinker. I'm an independent. I did a lot of self-study. I read a lot of books that weren't in the, what my school wanted me to do. Read a lot of Shakespeare. I read a lot of history books. I studied a lot of world history. learned a lot of different things before, and it probably helped me a lot when I went into colleges and stuff, because professors hated me. Because my professors, they wanted me to do something one way, and I found another way of doing it that was actually... I proved my professors wrong numerous times when I was in, like, world history class in college, and it was fun. Because, I enjoyed that. I didn't stay in college very long because I hated it. College was like... I thought I was going to have an aneurysm or something. It was horrible. I hated it. So I don't have a fancy college degree because I left. I was driven out by the staff of the college I went to. They hated me. They were always trying to get me in trouble. So I just left. I got sick of it. I was like, why do I need this? I don't need this. I'm going to be in radio anyway. And, life worked out differently. I got into video games journalism, and 10-something years later, YouTube, but then, whatevs. What is 5G? 5G was a horrible thing that was going to happen with DC, and it's dead now. You're welcome. Today was my last day of middle school. Congratulations. Do you think DC 5G could have been saved? No. No, because there's no compromising with these people. You had people at DC that wanted to have... There were two opinions for DC 5G. The Woke Fest, garbage trash fire, which is what Dido wanted. And then you had the 5G where not all the legacy characters were killed. Not all of the replacements of Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman would be permanent. And this universe was not going to be more than a 2-year thing. And even during the 2 years, they were going to do their best to make these characters actually appeal to people and not just be like the New Warriors or some of that other stuff where, I don't need to explain those books to you on Marvel. You know what those books are. They were actually going to... There were some writers and artists that were actually going to put care and attention into some of these characters, try to make them likable at least, although that would have been hard. And they had different directions for things. And the other side didn't want to compromise. They never compromise. They don't compromise with the CW shows. They don't compromise with their comics. They don't care. It's their way or the highway. There's no in the middle. And that's the problem. What people don't understand is there's people in this world that have two different opinions, and it doesn't make you a racist or a phobe or whatever you want to call somebody. Calling somebody a name is easy. Actually, compromising and working together with someone is a lot harder to do than name calling. And these Twitter crazies, they can't do it. They can't work with somebody who voted for someone that they don't like or has a different political opinion than them or a different life opinion than them. They can't do it. You have to agree with every single thing that they agree with, or they're going to run you out of the industry. And if, there are a lot of people, there are conservatives and there are independents in the comic book industry right now, but they're silent. They don't do much of anything. They stay under the radar for fear of getting fired. And right now, this other group had a lot of power, and losing DC 5G is going to be a huge blow to their egos. And rather than try to save the company they were working for, they're just going to quit. They'll go somewhere else. Good riddance to bad radishes. Good riddance to bad rubbish, as my grandfather used to say. Now, these people are trash. They're always going to be trash. They don't care. If they acted like humans, I'd show them respect. I don't need to show them respect. They're trash. They think I'm trash, so they're trash. This isn't going to be a learning experience. They're going to go and try and do it somewhere else. Watch, they'll go to Boom Comics next. Power Rangers is doing very well. It's a very balanced comic book. Good stories, good action. They're going to go over there and ruin Power Rangers, or Boom Comics in general. They couldn't ruin DC. They tried. They'll either go back to Marvel and ruin Marvel again, because Marvel will welcome them with open arms, or they'll go some other place. I don't know. I don't know what's left. They've torpedoed a lot of things. Television, video games, comic books. I guess they'll do the toys thing, like I said. They're already starting to do that. It's sexist for this action figure of an anime character to have boobs bigger than this one. This anime figure is not the right proportions. They should be fatter, or they need to have hair on their legs. This figure does not represent my viewpoint of a woman. And the Japanese people are just like, go screw off. We don't care. There's a group of people that buy this crap. We're just going to keep making it. You know? They're trying, though. They're already trying to attack a lot of these toy companies in Japan. Yeah. But the problem is, you're always going to have some of these cockroaches around, but you have to look at this DC 5G thing as a victory. I mean, it would have tired out a lot of people. I probably would have lost my connection with DC. Yeah, probably. Because they try to contact you from time to time and say, hey, do you want to look at these action figures? Or no strings attached, just a social media post or whatever. You want to read this comic book? We'd really like you to talk about this comic book. And if the comic book is horrible and goes against things that I don't want to talk about, I mean, even if you say I'm uncomfortable, they say, why are you uncomfortable with this? I'm just giving you an example because this is the kind of stuff Marvel did. Like, why are you uncomfortable supporting this? Do you have a problem with this? Are you a phobe? It's like, okay, just because I say I don't like this doesn't mean this, that, or that. I've never come out for or against anything. I don't believe any of this stuff belongs in comics or video games. But I haven't made a clear political stance other than, just assuming things about my faith, which the only one pointing fingers is you. And those phone calls or emails were always fun. But, I don't have any type of agreements with certain comic book companies anymore because of how comic books have been, because I don't support the Twitter crazies. You'll never see me on DC All Access or any of those other things because I stood my ground. I wasn't going to support that kind of stuff. DC fan site I was blacklisted from years ago, and that was before a lot of them gained a lot of power. They started as like community managers and Facebook, running their Facebook and doing all this stuff, and then they crept into probably doing pencils or coloring, and then they became writers, and then they got into that's why I said it. The cockroach thing is the best example of how this happened in comic books. They started small, and then they just kept multiplying, and they ended up in different aspects of the comic book industry. And now it's like DC is trying to fumigate, I guess. Fumigate is for bats. I don't know what you do for roaches and stuff. I've never had to deal with roaches, so I don't know. But, the comic book crazies, they're still probably going to try to do something worse than 5G, like, several years from now. We'll worry about when it happens. For now, just pat yourself on the back, because a lot of these places want to say it's not because of fan outrage for something that didn't happen, but we made a lot of ruckus the past year, and Jim Lee's very active on his Twitter. Jeff Johns, all these people, they listen to you. Whether the Twitter Puritans want you to know this or not, the comic industry knows what we're doing. They know I exist. They know you exist. They might not like me very much, but they know I'm here. They know that EVS is around. They know all these people. Just because they don't acknowledge you doesn't mean they're not watching you. Made that mistake a couple years ago, thinking I was invincible with something. Whoa, copyright strike. What'd I do? They know. That was a manual copyright strike from DC Comics, yo. What? That was crazy. But I hope that they, I know they want to kill Kite Man. I do. Okay. I think people are going to be pretty upset when the Harley Quinn romance thing doesn't work out, but at the same time, they're probably going to dump Kite Man. It's one of those things where, yeah, Ivy probably really loves Kite Man, and they're not going to do a thing where she's going to be with Harley and him, like a polygamy thing or whatever. I don't know the different terms. I've only had one woman, and I've never had the desire to have like a harem, So I don't know what the term would be, but yeah, there are people saying horrible things about Kite Man because Harley and Ivy have kissed once today, and they looked kind of like, whoa, we kissed. That wasn't supposed to happen. It was kind of like a spur of the moment lust thing, whatever. And that's going forward. That's going to be kind of the drama with the show. Like, if you don't like that kind of stuff, it's going to be Harley and Ivy and also Kite Man, and that's the whole drama. It's like there's going to be this love triangle, maybe, but also people are really going to hate this. Harley's going to be going after the Joker again because the Joker is normal. They're going to be doing the White Knight thing. They're going to adapt it in some way where Jack, or whatever his name is going to be looking pretty tasty to Harley. And Ivy's not going to like that. It's turning into like a CW drama. I kid you not. It's going to be interesting. The only reason they did the thing where Joker became human again is because they want to adapt the White Knight thing. Gotham's White Knight or whatever. Oh no, you honestly thought the whole Joker Harley thing was done? Ha 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 ha. Oh, come on. Not even close. She was looking pretty thirsty at Joker in his human attire or regular look. They're not done. White Knight was great. It was interesting. Yeah, Jack. Yeah, I agree, Ghoul. I agree, man. They do that quite a bit. I'm a Kite Man fan, by the way. Kite Man's probably my favorite character in the new show. Kite Man, the guy on every episode of I Hate Everything channel. Kite Man's fun. Kwing, any opinion on Bendis? No, I don't want to. Is Tim Drake still a duck? Yes. Kwing, are you going to do a series on the Ghost? I want to. I mean, fine. I'll be honest with you guys. I love this channel. I do. The only reason I've been gone so long is the CPM's mostly dead over here. You guys knew for a long time that this channel paid for my rent. It doesn't anymore. In order for me to make a living on this channel, other than these occasional streams, because whenever I talk about something negative, this gets claimed, so I'm not going to make bump gets on this anyway. So thank you so much for the super chats, that $10 super chat or 15 or whatever. I'll get a portion of that, and that's the money I'll make from this video. Because this is negative, DC's going to claim it, Content ID it, or Batwoman or CW or whatever. Doesn't matter. But the CPM on this channel is pretty much dead. So in order for me to work here on this channel, because my CPM's so low on my Let's Play channel, I would have to work just as hard, if not harder, on this channel, and I can't do it. Maybe if I was in my 20s, I could try to do it, like work with Amber in the morning and then stream like 3 a.m. until 4 a.m. and then edit and get 2 or 3 hours sleep. I'd be dead. I couldn't do it. Am I going to invest a lot on this channel when the new Batman game comes out? Yeah, I'll find a way. I really want to play that ninja game, but right now I'm sitting at a $3.50 CPM on my Let's Play channel. This channel is at $1, by the way. That's, to me, it's dead. It's been that way. Even if I were to if I did a podcast every night and say I made like $50 a podcast with a $1 CPM, it wouldn't even be $50 a podcast. It's like if this only gets 1,000 views, that's $1. Woot. Yeah, $1 for a 2-hour podcast. Woo! Yeah, living the dream. And the problem is when your CPM drops too low, YouTube doesn't course correct. It doesn't fix it. They don't pay you for your legacy videos. So my awesome documentary video, I don't get paid for. It's there to attract new fans to the channel, and that's it. It doesn't make bumpkins. I never thought I would see the CPM drop this low, but the problem is the pattern that I've noticed with this channel specifically, because I watch it from time to time. Like, thanks for the super chat, just chat. The pattern of YouTube and their stupidness is when they lower your CPM, they continue to lower it. And then they make some excuse like, oh, companies aren't investing in you for ad revenue anymore. And it's like, the only reason they're not is because you lowered our CPM. So they come back and they blame you for companies not being interested in what you do, when your content hasn't changed. It's still the same content that people come and watch. Like this podcast, for instance. I'm sitting here, there's lightning going on in the background, and it says Gotham. Nothing's happening. Nothing at all. 300 people are watching. They're watching because of the creator. But they pull the advertisers, basically. So I'm kind of like Weird Al with UHF or whatever. Like, I love doing this. I just don't really get paid for it anymore. And that's why I have a Patreon. So if you want to support us, you can go to Patreon. You could become a member over here, but I'd really like people to be a member on the Let's Play channel because I'm going to play the Ninja game, but not a lot's going to happen with it, unfortunately. I love this channel. I love the audience, and that's why I do podcasts, and that's why I do Batman stuff on occasion, because I can't let this channel go completely. People tell me it's dead. I have other YouTubers that tell me I should just move on, and it's like, I'm not. I'm still going to do it when I can. But I mean, I really hope I'm wrong and that the CPM goes up on the Let's Play channel, because $3.50 CPM is not a livable wage. It's not. Even releasing 4 videos a day, live streaming, that comes out to 120 plus 30 live streams. That's bad. I'm not good at math, but I was thankful that I actually picked up. I've been pushing memberships really hard over there. We're close to 90 members now. Once I hit probably 200 members or whatever, I'm gonna be so much more lax. I'll be over here a lot more, like a couple times a week, just doing podcasts or playing who knows whatever I feel like, because it won't matter, because I have I'd had people like literally investing into the channel. They become my advertisers. They become whatever. And I've called advertisers on your behalf. I've talked to video game companies, mobile companies. I've tried to do ad sales to do everything I can to get this channel alive and stuff, but it doesn't even make $500 a month. It's dead. It's gone. I just come over here to hang out and do the best I can. It's not even half my rent. Ouch. The golden age of the Kwings was Disney Infinity and Arkham. You're not wrong. What will you do when the new Batman game comes out, Luke? Will you over here? Or no, I can't play it on the Let's Play channel. Let's be real, guys. It's going to be M-rated. They're not going back from M-rated Batman games. Next Batman game will probably definitely be M-rated. So it'll be over here. And I'll play that game to death, and I'll podcast, and I'll do my lores. I just, other than like a new release, this channel is never going to be a daily channel again. Unless, by miraculousness, the CPM goes up to $5. Then I could do a video every day like I did Bat News or something like that. But, yeah. Until then, I'm kind of like, I have to do everything I can on the other channel, and it's probably killing me. But there are no other jobs. I'll tell you how desperate I got. Fun story. It's not that I don't get along with this one company that's looking for an editor, but I applied to some people that I know that have YouTube channel that do a lot of Nintendo stuff, and I contacted them about a job because I saw they were hiring. Ugh. That's when you know you hit rock bottom. They were surprised to hear from me. I was surprised to contact them. It was like, oops. I didn't get the job, though. So, what was your favorite game that you covered on either channel? Arkham content on this channel, and not Disney Infinity. I hate that game. Favorite game on the Let's Play channel? Out of all the videos we ever did, Tales of Zesty was fun. Tales of Zesty was a long, crazy series. Double Dragon Neon was fun. Amber and I had a blast with that. The great thing about the Let's Play channel is it's like super connected to my marriage. And I have so many memories of hanging out with Amber. Like, just about everything we've ever done on that channel is a happy memory. There's over 7,000 happy memories on that channel. This channel is my work, was my work. It's how I got into video production. It's how I was able to meet Total Biscuit. It's how I got into Maker Studios. It's how I started my YouTube career. Like, this channel is how I got partnered. So, and I still don't have a plaque for it. I have a plaque for the Kwing's Let's Plays channel, but I still don't have my 100K plaque for the 01 channel. Every time I contact YouTube, they're like, oh, well, it says we sent you one, and you never got it, but we don't do replacements, so sorry. So it's like they said, when you reach your next milestone of 1 million, we'll be sure to make sure that it reaches your current address. And it's like, why can't you just give me my plaque? I never got it. I'd love to have my 01 plaque. And it's like, nope. Did Kappa affect this channel? No. No. Kappa hit the Let's Play channel. Let's Play channel took a 35% income hit. And that's why memberships are amazing over there. Become a member today on Kwing's Let's Plays. We've got multiple tiers, including the ultimate tier for only $99.99. Yeah, because of the E-rated content, we took a hit. People didn't think we were going to take a hit, but we did. The hit came to our CPM. Do we still have playlists? Yep. Do we still have videos that are... the only things that were... We only listed 150 videos as for kids. And because we did that, our income dropped. And I can't change it back either. So our income is forever impacted in terms of revenue because those 150 videos. We got bad advice from a lawyer. I should have listened to some of my friends, like Abdallah, because he didn't list anything for kids. Even though his channel is probably more kiddie than my Let's Play channel, just being honest. But I listened to my lawyer, and he told me legally that I had to list certain games and certain videos as for kids. And when I did that, everything was fine for a while. Then 2 months later... rolled up and we took a 35% income drop, and it's never gone back up. And it never will. We also lost advertisers, and, you know, we didn't even think, because those videos weren't even making money, that's the thing. The videos that we said, okay, we'll play ball with the FTC, thought everything was fine, but because those videos were listed, it impacted the whole channel in ways that we couldn't imagine. So we were ripped from the search engine unless you type our name. We had our CPM slashed in half. So instead of like a $6 or $7, it's like $3. It's bad. But this channel, you don't need to worry about that because it's already kind of like, it's been on life support for 4 years. I still come over here. Am I going to offer memberships over here? No, I don't want to do that to you guys because I'm not active over here. That's not right. Why in the world would I say, hey, you know, why don't you guys become members over here, help out the channel? It's like, that's not right. I'm not going to be here very much. That's wrong. That's taking your money. That there's nothing for your investment. An occasional podcast over here? Come on. That's not nice. No way. I'm not going to do that to anybody. If people are giving me money, I want them to invest into something that's, you know, actually doing something. That's just how I roll. I love you guys too. I don't say it very much, but... Kingdom Come lore! I got depressed, okay? I had an income slash. I can't stop you from being a member. I can't stop any of you guys, but I'm just saying, don't expect a miracle over here, okay? We'll always have our little chats. We'll hang out. I'm still going to do Arkham Origin streams, but, I mean, yeah, I've been depressed. Not going to lie. DC 5G getting killed made me a little happy. You know, it was a silver lining in my 2020 so far. But yeah, I've been dealing with depression a little bit because I don't have anything else I can do. People telling me you know, get a real job or go back into the industry or whatever. It's like I would, but I'm disabled. I'm not legally allowed to leave my home, or I could get sued by Social Security and the IRS. No, thank you. Am I crazy enough to deal with a YouTube channel? Yes. The IRS? No, thank you. So, if I'm legally listed as disabled, which technically I am, then I have to abide by those rules or face, like, serious repercussions. And, you know, I put the pressure on Amber. Well, not pressure. She volunteered to go out and get a real job, and then I hate that term. I hate that term that haters use. Amber went out to get a job in the private sector, and then the virus hit. So, never mind. Some new decade this has been. I know, right, at Red X? Animated series reference you will always get. I am a walking Batman encyclopedia, ladies and gentlemen. You will always get random Batman facts, whether you want it or not. Because that's all my brain does. Which is weird. I even do live streams on my other channel. I end up talking about Batman. I can't get it out of my blood. I never will. So, I guarantee you, when the new game comes out, I will be playing through the entire game, whether as a live stream or uploads. I'm going to do walkthroughs. I'm going to do challenge maps. Better have challenge maps. I'm going to do the whole shebang for a year again. Let's Play channel is turning into a streaming channel. I mean, that's basically what's happening. I like it. I love streaming. But for whatever reason, I'll tell you how messed up this channel is. This channel is so old, I can't stream 1080p. I can upload 1080p, but it will not let me stream 1080p. I was just streaming 1080p over on my Let's Play channel. No probs. XSplit tells me, for whatever reason, this can't do it because of resolution problems. I contact YouTube. I'm like, hey, why can't I do 1080p? I can do 1080p now because XSplit now recognizes my awesome graphics card in my laptop, whereas before it couldn't, and it was like, you know, causing drop frames and jam ups and things like that. But this channel, it can't do it. And then I contact YouTube. I'm like, hey, I'm having a tech issue. I would love to be able to do 1080p streams because I'm able to do it. I have the bandwidth. I got my laptop is able to do it now, but it's saying that I'm stuck to 720. What's going on with this channel? And they're like, it might be because your channel was created in 2005. I was like, what does that have to do with anything? Can't you just patch it? They're like, well, the Let's Play channel was created in 2011, 2012, so 1080p was kind of the standard. It's like, what are you smoking? It's because my channel's old, I can't do 1080p streams? That doesn't make any sense. It's got to be a bug. Fix it. You know? Are they going to do it? No. I don't care. YouTube doesn't like me. YouTube wants me to just kind of disappear. I was shocked when, yeah, Ruga was shocked. Yeah, so Ruga knows the truth. Ruga's my mod over on my other channel. We Skype from time to time. I told him what was up. So, yep. I tell my mods what's going down sometimes. I get too real with people. That's maybe if I became a character, this channel would have like 1 million subs or something. But I couldn't do that. I'm just me. I would say a YouTuber that's similar to me is probably Max. Maximilian is a lot like me, except way older. He never started being a character either. He's just himself. He's a cool guy. I've talked to him on occasion. He's more a fighting game than Batman stuff, which is fine. Yeah. I like fighting games. Would I ever play Max? No. Max would kill me. I have a Patreon, Max. I just don't promote it much because I don't know how. Oh, flip side. YouTube's always been bad to me. I don't care. I get knocked down, I get up again. When I got knocked down, I went over to Kwing's Let's Plays. And legally, they can't really lower my CPM too much more because then the channel won't make money. And if YouTube can't make money on the channel, they're not going to go too far. They're still making money. They're just, not making as much, and they seem to be fine with that. But Amber and I are struggling now because they found a way. And then I guess when I was talking about how this channel always paid for rent for like 10 years, they found a way of making it not pay for rent anymore. But it's, I'm still able to, I pay the This channel pays the electricity bill, and I think our water, and part of my internet bill now. So, I mean, it still contributes to something. In fact, I have so many videos on this channel that are still, like, have high watch time that it, even though it doesn't make what I need for rent, I mean, I'm still thankful that those older videos, the sum of them that people are rewatching, whether it's earning like a penny or 50 cents or whatever, I'm still able to pay utilities with this channel, and it'll probably be that way for like another 5-6 years. Be my guess. Oh yeah, YouTube's trying to shut down the old generation. Of course. You could do reaction videos like react to Death Battle or trailers. So putting up a facade takes you places? Yeah, pretty much. If you create a character, yeah. Take Joe, for instance. Joe is not that angry in real life. Joe's very chill. I think we've only had 2 or 3 conversations in probably 12 years. I emailed him once when I was scouting people for Maker Studios, and it turns out that he was in Maker Studios around the same time that I got scouted. And we had a conversation when he was over at Blip TV. Was it Blip TV? Gosh, was it really called Blip? I don't even remember what it was called. And when I contacted his website to buy ad placement for my channel, we had an agreement where he was going to, which was going to be hilarious. I was going to pay him such and such, I forget what it was, but I was going to pay him to advertise on his website, the Kwing's Let's Plays channel, back in 2015. And something happened where the deal didn't go through, but I was going to invest quite a bit. I think I was going to pay like $2,500 in ad sales or something for that, like 60 days or something. Who knows what my channel would have been like. Oh my gosh, if those ad sales actually went through back then. Holy cow. Didn't happen though. How it should have ended, they're really cool guys. Do I like creepypasta? Are you talking about Yuri? I know Yuri. Yuri and I both love Super Sentai stuff. We talk mostly on Twitter, like Twitter responses. I haven't spoken to the guy since I left Boston. Whatever. This podcast goes all over the place. Hey, Kwing, I just want to say I'm praying for you. Thank you. That's very appreciated. You should do speed runs. No. No speed runs. I am not that guy. Don't you put that on me. Mm-mm. I'm not that good. I can't do speed runs. Come on. Why do you hate Disney Infinity? Do I have to say it? I didn't like it. It just wasn't for me. It was made for little kids and Disney fans. And I am the only Disney fan I was a fan of Disney Afternoon. I like Darkwing Duck and DuckTales and Tailspin and Gargoyles and stuff like that. I was, maybe the Mickey Mouse show, like where they were in the 90s, or Quack Pack or something. I wasn't... I always view Pixar as separate from Disney. I'm a Pixar fan more than I am a Disney fan. I thought that the idea was pretty cool, but I thought it was a ripoff. When Disney invited us to California, I kept my mouth shut because I didn't want to get sued. And as long as Disney Infinity was around, I was under NDA. Couldn't really say my real opinion without, more than a slap on the wrist. I held my tongue a lot. But I honestly, at my core, I'm a gamer, like Iwata-san was. So when I saw these Toys to Life thing, as a journalist, as an honest journalist, I was like, this is a ripoff. Why would you need to pay all this extravagant money for these toys that you can't even play with these toys? They're little statues. They don't have movable joints. You know, they look great. They're great on display and stuff like that, but you can't really use them outside of the game. And why do they cost like as much of a real action figure? That always bothered me. And Amber held me back quite a bit when we went to conventions and we were interviewing these things, because like I would go to say something, she'd step on my foot. We'd be sitting out to dinner with Disney or something, and I'm trying to get real with them, thinking I'm off the clock, and she would gently, you know, step on my foot. Be like, look at me, like, like, okay, this is killing me inside, but okay, you know. We were sponsored by Disney for several years. They were one of our biggest ad sales people. They were investing into the channel. We grew because of Disney. I don't deny it. We were trending on YouTube. And when we stopped trending is when I told Disney, no, I don't want to join your network. I will never be part of Maker Studios. As soon as I said no to Disney, our CPM dropped. There was some drop in views, but by then we had built up a pretty substantial audience. By the time we stopped getting millions and millions of views on videos, and the revenue like balanced out a little bit, it was still livable, more than what we needed. But when we weren't getting millions of views anymore, I knew that Disney left. Because, I mean, there's no way that you can get 1 million views on your own. You get 1 million views from people sharing your content and from somebody promoting you. No YouTuber, unless they have an established audience, gets 1 million views a video. It's impossible. You have this is somebody who is YouTube certified that's telling you how this works. You have to have people sharing your content, and you have to get a big company to notice you that's going to promote it. And they promote it through their inner circle. It's almost like botting, but not, because they're sending it out legitimate. Botting is where you pay money to have your channel out there. The only problem with botting is, and the reason why I never did it, is because you take a pay cut. It kills your CPM. Almost to what my CPM is right now on the Let's Play channel. Like, I would think that I botted, but then I look at my daily views, and it's like, yeah, no, nobody botted my channel. It's just, you know. That's why I never did it. That's why I acted holier than thou than a lot of people, because it was about money. I was like, I'm not stupid. If I go and I pay $1,000 to have like 20 or 30 videos, you know, whatever, like, you can probably guess some Let's Players that did it. I'm not going to say names, but they botted for years. And they got millions of views on their Lego series and their Skylanders and all this other stuff. But they did that. And they took a hit from CPM, so that's why they had merchandise and why they had like a Twitch partnership and all this other stuff, because they had to find ways of, you know, you weren't going to get that sweet YouTube revenue for botting because YouTube penalizes you. YouTube looks at your channel, it says this isn't legit, so they take away all the money you earned on that video. And then they look at the rest of your videos and they're like, So, that's why you never bot. You never try to take the easy way out. Because legacy or long-lasting views is the best thing that you can get. It helps out a lot. Because in the long run, advertisers look at you and they're like, oh, that's actually real views. We're going to invest this and this into the channel. Or they have this many videos, we're going to do this. We're going to invest this. We're going to pay for this type of ad sales. But if it doesn't look like you have a real audience, then investors can't be like, okay, well, it doesn't really look like anything's going on here. So, yep, that's a secret that YouTube doesn't want people to know. What's going on, Garrett? If I would have given my real opinion about Disney Infinity, I probably would have gotten sued. If I did it in a video that went viral that they were promoting, because I didn't know till years later that they were actually promoting our videos. I honestly thought that millions of people liked watching us. I had no idea that, like, people at Disney and, you know, the company that produced Disney Infinity, all these other things were, like, sending our videos all over the internet. I had no idea. I didn't think... I mean, I thought our videos were great, don't get me wrong, but I got quite an ego when I would see like 1 million views Or 200 to 500,000 views on an upload that was only 12 hours. Oh my gosh. Looking back, I should have bought a hot rod or something, or a house. I was so stupid. Ugh. I want a time machine. Somebody give me a time machine. Ugh. Was there a reason why the Nolan trilogy they called the League of Assassins League of Shadows? They messed up. That was a continuity error. They watched Batman the Animated Series instead of reading the comic book. That's how that happened. The person who was working... A true story. The person who was working at the continuity job for the Nolan movie, they're supposed to keep things consistent between the source material and the other thing, because people see Batman as the definitive, like the animated series, as the big thing. Excuse me. They use Batman animated series as a reference. And since the League of Shadows are called that in the animated series, and they weren't really called that in the comics, except from like maybe one or two places, they've always been the League of Assassins. That's how that mix-up happened. But you can look at it as an Easter egg for the animated series, because it is. It was. You know? There's lots of different people that say there's two stories. One story is it was the animated series. The other story is it was the they didn't want Bruce Wayne to join the League of Assassins. But I like the story I heard at a convention better than the one that Bruce Wayne didn't want to join a League of Assassins, because you have to remember at that point in the story, Bruce Wayne just tried to kill the person who killed his parents. And, you know, it didn't really look like he cared about his fellow man, so I don't think he'd really care so much about the name. Because there was other animated series slips that ended up in the Nolan movies, and, you know, that same person worked on the movies. And the animated series is the definitive Batman, so, I mean, just saying. It pops up in a lot of pop culture. Is YouTube your main source of income? Unfortunately. I don't make enough on merchandise. It was for 12 years. Hey, what's up, Christian? Long time no see. As long as Twitter doesn't go for Nintendo, I don't really understand that. Kwing, should they make a live action of Bob Kane's Batman in today's world? No. No. Let's get rid of that. Luke, aka Kwing, which is better? YouTube fan Nightwing from... or... Oh, who's a better Nightwing? I gotta go with my boy Danny. Me and Danny are tight, yo. Danny is like my favorite live-action Nightwing. No joke. I like him a lot. My second Nightwing choice would be Aaron from Superpowered Beatdown. But Danny is just... Danny gets it. Danny's awesome. I was so happy that he got to play Nightwing in Death Battle. Because, I mean, Danny gets Nightwing. He totally does. Talking to him a couple times over the years, he understands the character. I have nothing but respect for Danny. And I hope he makes it in the industry because he is... or the film industry. Because he actually does... he's in commercials now. So, I mean, he's, you know, he's getting his foot in the door. Danny's a really cool person. At least the people on Batman Begins did their research. I'm pretty sure Tim Drake ended up with Barbara Gordon at Arkham Knight because they only knew Robin was with Batgirl. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've already admitted that sin. They can never... When they had that slip up during like a Twitch broadcast or something, they were talking about Arkham Knight, and somebody brought up the Tim Drake and Barbara Gordon thing, and Rocksteady said that it had to do with the Robin and Batgirl relationship. They just picked the wrong Robin. So, I mean, it happened, whatever. Because even in the promotional images, she was wearing an RR necklace, which eventually turned into a Robin necklace. If you go back and you pay attention to the original images of Barbara Gordon with the necklace, it said RG, which stood for Richard Grayson. And then by the time the I guess the game was closer to releasing or something like that, any images of her wearing the necklace, it just said R for Robin. So, yeah. Oops. I hate that Batman Begins has made everyone mispronounce Ra's al Ghul. I will always do that. Twitter, like Starfire haters and anime figures, they don't like... Twitter doesn't like anime figurines. They're trying to get figurines breast reductions. They're not for the anime community. They're against it. What am I even talking about? I don't even know anymore. We started like the first hour talking about DC 5G, and then it just ended up talking. I open up the floor to you guys. That's what I tend to do. People ask me questions, and then the podcast usually ends. This is a podcast. Nothing's happening in this. You're essentially watching a background. Nothing's happening. It's a background. My voice. That's it. Ra's al Ghul. Oh no. Hey Kwing, what was the first ever video game you played? Legend of Zelda 1986. It was my first ever video game I ever played, and I went in the wrong dungeon. Because the Legend of Zelda game was all about exploration. I was playing at a Caldor's. I did not go to the right dungeon. I got smoked. But I fell in love with the Legend of Zelda, and it was my first game I ever played. And then I was disappointed when I got an NES because I got Super Mario and Duck Hunt. And I was thankful for getting an NES, but I didn't get Legend of Zelda until a year later. And then I got Legend of Zelda, Castlevania, and Mega Man. Mega Man 2. Yeah. And Metroid. And then my uncle got me Kid Icarus because he was drunk. I don't know. Love to hear your opinion on stuff. My opinion's all over the place. How do you see the Riddler as a Batman villain? He's my favorite. I like Riddler. He's kind of cool. I do like your voice. Thank you. Why do Twitter hate comics? Twitter hates everything. Next question. Who is your least favorite Batman villain? Tweedledee and Tweedledum. And the werewolf. Who is your... Oh, somebody asked the same question. How long is this live stream going to be? Live streams on this channel tend to be about 2 hours, 3 hours. Depends. What do you approve of Zac Efron as the new Nightwing or Yoshi as the new Nightwing? I'd go with the other, but I don't know. What would you say? Well, Jake, I mean, I'm all for Yoshi. Yoshi is a fantastic actor. He's a huge Nightwing fan. He is an acrobat and a martial artist, so he can do his own stunts. He understands the character. The only reason Zac Efron would get the role is because star power. Zac Efron would put in the training. They would get a stunt double to do all the flips and stuff. He'd probably give a solid performance, but at the end of the day, star power is usually what wins. So I would love Yoshi to make it, but I don't see that happening. I wish he would. Why didn't you become a teacher if you liked history? I could see you being an awesome teacher. You and Amber are in my prayers. Why didn't I become a teacher? Because I didn't share the same beliefs as teachers. I actually did work as a teacher. I was a teacher's aide. I got fired. I got fired by a liberal teacher. Accused me of calling a kid a R word because I was working in special education. And her and the school board got me fired. So that happened. I never went back. I was actually going to go back to school to become a teacher for a while because I left college and pursued radio and other investments. And they were looking for help at a school for kids with ADD and other things. So I applied. I got the job based on my personal disabilities. And I was working there for about 3 or 4 months, and the teacher there, she didn't like me. She was always trying to talk to me about politics, and she was asking me things about social issues, and it was very awkward. I just didn't like going to work. I would ignore her as best I could. I didn't let the students know anything was going on. And I was off at a work site with one of the kids who had some mental challenges. I never got angry and called him a name because I have similar mental challenges, so that would be like an oxymoron. She and the bus driver basically didn't like me, and they got me fired. That's pretty much what happened. So, that was a long time ago, though. And, I have to thank that teacher because of that, I put all my investment into new technology. I took my radio skills and went on YouTube, after getting encouragement from Amber, because mostly it was a very dark part of my life. It was a tough time. The economy was bad. Only Amber was able to work. I was looking for a job as much as I could, but I fell into depression pretty hard. I thought I was going to start drinking. And she had this idea of basically channeling my creativity into a new platform, and I did the Spider-Man review on Wii. And the rest was history, pretty much. I got into YouTube. Been here ever since. All thanks to her. Yeah, the big thing that you can do as a teacher, focus on the kids. Don't get close to your fellow teachers. Don't bring up any type of social issues or political beliefs. Keep them to yourself. Do your job. Be a good example to the kids, because chances are that teacher is probably a jerk, and the kids are going to remember you more, and you're going to be a big example to those kids and inspire somebody else to become a teacher's aide or whatever else. You got to keep... It's a shame that we can't live in a society where people can have different opinions and still be friends or work together. I don't know how it turned out this way, but I mean, I guess it was starting in the 2000s, because I got fired from education in 2005 or 6. 2006. Yeah. Or was it 07? No, it was 06. Oh, wow. I was in a bad place then. No, it was 07. Yeah, because I remember I was walking around in my bathrobe for like several months just watching Naruto Shippuden. Wasn't doing much. My beard like became a Santa beard. Oh, it's bad. And then I shaved it all off after my first Spider-Man Wii video got like, oh my gosh, how many views? It was like 55,000 views overnight for that horrible review. And YouTube changed my life. I shaved. I got rid of the Santa beard. Amber was happy because she grew to like the beard over years, but in the beginning she didn't like it because the beard to her represented depression and other things. Poor hygiene, bathrobes. So, yeah. YouTube changed me, probably for the good. I'm still here, Garrett. I'm not a dinosaur yet. I'm still around. We truly do live in a society, yeah. I lived in Mass till I was 11, and then I moved to South Carolina, and the education system is better. Teachers are nicer and more understanding. Good for you, Edwin. Yeah, I'm in the East Coast, so... I was in Massachusetts when I did the teacher's aid stuff. I was in... I don't remember the name of the town. I don't care anymore. It was a long time ago. I just... the thing I didn't like was being accused of doing something I didn't do. That's what was hard. we all can thank K-Wave that we have this wonderful man here with us now. You sure you're not a dinosaur? I'm close, Garrett. I still have my hair, though. And I got hair on my face. Oh my gosh. What are your thoughts on Nightwing not getting a movie until 2030? Can you wait that long? What? Did they really say 2030 now? I'm going to need I don't even know how you would give a link to somebody. I'm going to have to look into that now. That's the first I've heard of that. That'd be too long. Christian Bale was talking about Batman 4 and how him and Nolan wanted to do a trilogy. Would you have wanted Batman 4? No, yes, or why? Before Heath Ledger died, they planned on doing more movies. They all loved it. They weren't just planning on doing 3 movies and walking away. They walked away with the 3rd movie because Heath died. Joker was gonna have a big role in the 3rd movie. In fact, the movie The Dark Knight wasn't supposed to be that long. It was supposed to end on a cliffhanger. The Joker stuff was supposed to be spread out. They filmed so much for, it's just a shame. It's a shame everything ended the way it did. Nobody knows the direction that they planned on going, but there were multiple movies. They had a clear vision. They sat down and they wrote out something the Star Wars movies could have benefited from. They sat down and they charted their entire movie thing, everything. They charted it out. Had a role for Joker, Scarecrow, Two-Face. Two-Face wasn't going to end up the way he did. That was all rushed. They had to find a way of making the movie more compelling because they didn't have, what could have been. Oh my gosh. So cool. Oh well. Sometimes that's what happens, Yeah, there were supposed to be 6 movies. They had, Bale was on Bale signed up for 5 or something like that. His contract was 5 movies. And he still ended up doing that amount of WB movies, but he only did 3 Batman. He was supposed to do all Batman movies. Where are you going, Shadow? Alright. I'll do a couple more questions, guys, and then we're going to call it a night, because I got to feed the cats, and I have some editing to do. Who do I like better, the Court of Owls or the League of Assassins? Always bet on ninjas. I love ninjas. So I like the League of Assassins. Sorry, Shinobi. Ninjas technically don't exist. Ninjas are a Western thing. Shinobi. I like shinobis and samurais. Been wondering, why do you... Oh, you already asked that. That's the same repeat question. Croc was in Suicide Squad, but it wasn't that great. Yeah, that's true. Off topic, but if you ever wish to talk with other YouTube channels, I personally would suggest Geeks and Gamers. They tend to have dirty language here and there, but they're pretty cool people. I think I'm done reaching out to YouTubers. I've been stabbed in the back too much, guys. I don't want to get involved with stuff. I have my own little... I'm amazed that I was able to get 300 people to watch a podcast, to be honest. I thought maybe 80 people would show up. You guys humble me every time I do one of these podcasts, or I play Arkham Origins badly, with playing with you guys. I mean, you're all wonderful, beautiful people. You really are. I don't deserve you. At this point in the YouTube game, I don't want to try reaching out to other YouTubers, or if people want to come talk to me, that's fine. I'm too old. I did the reach out game for years, and it didn't work out well for me. You know what I mean? So if somebody wants to approach me and talk about something, or wants me to collab, yeah, fine, whatever. But I'm not going to be the one to instigate it. That's not my thing anymore. I did that in my 20s and my 30s. I'm good. Can you please, what is a good Batman comic to read? I've got Batman Hush, Batman Year One, and Batman Under the Red Hood. You seem to know the character lots. Oh my gosh. Night Army, I could recommend some stuff for you, but I don't think you would like the same stuff that I did. A really long arc I read was Legacy and Contagion. But I don't think Contagion and Legacy would be very good because it's about a virus wiping out half the world's population. So, it's a good Ra's al Ghul story, but timing. Also, it had a lot of cool stuff with the Bat family. War Games is pretty cool, but you would have to read No Man's Land. No Man's Land is interesting, but I mean, maybe stay away from the end of the world stuff. Catastrophes. If you're reading Hush, try The Long Halloween. Stay away from All-Star Batman anything. I'm trying to think what else. Because you're in the pre-52 style, so you're already doing really well. If you want to get into the Court of Owls stuff, it's a good read. She needs to get in the basement. Come here. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I tried Long Halloween. I think you'd like it. Been watching you since Arkham City came out. You've always been a classic guy to me. I'm classic. I like that. Thank you, Strawberry. I'm not boomer old. I was born in the 80s. How dare you? I am part of Generation X, my friend. I'm not a boomer. Maybe with technology, but no, I'm an 80s kid, yo. I want to see Johnny Depp as Joker. Yes, please. This is the first podcast I ever attended. T-Call? Wait, are you... Are you the walkthrough person? From IGN? No. No, I'm seeing things. Yeah, 80s. Woot! Nobody called me a boomer. No, okay. Oh, T-Cal is a Sonic character. Kwing, did you read Batman Beyond DC Rebirth? Yes, it was pretty good. Going to do any more classic Batman games? Like, okay, all right. Yes. I have my PlayStation Classic ready to mod. Sorry, Sony. And a friend of mine got me Gotham City Racer, Batman and Robin, Batman Forever Arcade. I think those were only Batman games on PlayStation. I think there was only 3. Well, Batman Beyond wasn't technically. So I'm finalizing that stuff. I haven't figured out how to modify it yet because my friend can't come to my house and do it for me. So Mr. Bad with Technology has to do it, and it hasn't been successful yet. He was the one who modded my Super Nintendo Classic and my NES Classic and all this other stuff. I'm not good at doing that stuff. So that's why those streams haven't happened. They're on me. And the reason why I didn't do the Batman Blackgate streams like I promised is because I hate the game. I don't want to play it. I said I was going to play it. I'm still going to play it, but I'm going to kick and scream until you make me play it. I don't want to. I don't want to. You can't make me. No. No. It's bad. I don't want to play it. What time do you do podcasts? Late at night. How would you make your own sequel to Arkham City while having to count Origins? I would just say that Arkham Origins took place 15 years ago. Fixed. And then I have a lot of wiggle room to do whatever I want in the Arkham franchise. I don't have to say it was 5 years ago. I don't have to say it was 3 or 4, whatever they said. Eventually 10. Did they eventually settle on 10 years between Arkham Asylum and Arkham Origins, or no? I don't remember. I don't care anymore. I stood on my soapbox. I stood up for continuity. I'm done. I don't remember anymore. Well, too bad, Kwing. At some point, you're going to play the game. I will pay you to do so. Meh. What if I donate $30,000? You're a very generous person, but I will remember you when I end up in the loony bin. First of all, for getting a donation that high, and second of all, having to play those horrible games. Was it 10 years? Why did I think it was 5 or so? I don't know. I can't remember, and I don't care. I'd have to watch one of my video rants, and I don't want to. But anyway, people, that's going to wrap up the podcast. So just to clarify, again, the DC 5G dead thing is a rumor, but Bleeding Cool was the first one to report on it. They're not happy about it. Twitter Puritans are not happy about it. So because so little is being said about it and being celebrated about diversity and all this other stuff that they were saying, I am jumping on this and saying it's dead based on cryptic things Jim Lee has said, based on, but until it's officially confirmed, it could still exist, but I don't think so. Also, I believe that DC 5G would excel as a graphic novel or a miniseries, just to prove to a point that the people that DC is trying to attract will not buy the books anyway, and it would be good for them to see that the investment of the graphic novel would be less of a hurtful impact for them than actually doing a canon-wide reboot. So that's where I stand on that issue. Do I hate DC 5G? No. Do I think it would do better as an Elseworlds? Yes. Do I think it would sell horrible as a graphic novel? Yes. But I still think it should be made. As an example. All right. Okay, let's get the theme music going and we out. Thank you guys so much. It was fun hanging out. I'll be sure to label this as a podcast so people don't think they're going to get an Arkham Knight gameplay or whatever. Because eventually I'd like to put myself in the video. But, I mean, I'm literally here in my jacket, just kind of chilling. I got my Rio jacket on, by the way. Amber, for my birthday, she bought me a Rio jacket. It's authentic. I could cosplay it. I'm not rocking a Band-Aid on my face anymore, but it's comfortable. I like it. It's nice. It's a really cool birthday present that I got. It's warm too, so it's making me kind of tired. But I feel cool. All I'm missing now is the skinny jeans and the Converse sneakers or regular sneakers. And if you guys don't know who Rio is, it's a Shenmue reference. So don't worry about it. All right, theme music. I hope everybody has a good one, and we'll be playing Arkham Origins together real soon, and you guys can kick my butt per normal. So, all right. Have a great one, guys. Oh, before I forget, if you guys want to watch something video game related tomorrow night, I am doing a stream of Elder Scrolls Blades? Yes. 3rd episode of Elder Scrolls Blades. I'll be starting a guild. And if you guys have the game, join the guild or whatever. I don't know. But that'll be tomorrow at 10:30 p.m. on Kwing's Let's Plays. All right, people. You're all amazing, wonderful human beings. Awesome. And I'm out. Bat smoke. There's no music.